Chapter 56. Gu Yang's appearance shocked the audience, especially after he reported his identity. The entire monster clan was shocked. He is just Long Chen's subordinate, how can he be so strong? The commander of the First Legion should be the #1 expert under Long Chen, and it makes sense to be strong. However, to be able to repel Lord Xiangtu, this person is a bit ridiculously strong. Tisich, that's because Mr. Xiangtu didn't take it seriously. When Mr. Xiangtu becomes serious, this bald man will die a miserable death. Gu Yang stopped Xiangtu, and the monster clan powerhouses were terrified. The purple-eyed nine-tailed demon fox killed them by surprise. Who would have thought that Ho Tianwu, one of the 5 leaders, would be restrained like this? A person who is about to die is not worthy of me remembering your name, trash of the human race, get out. Blocked by Gu Yang's gun, Xiangtu was so shocked that his blood surged. Xiangtu was furious instantly, swung his spear violently. Xiangtu shook the sky, his 9-vein sword, and came to kill Gu Yang. I told you your name mainly to let you know who killed you when you report to Hades, so that you can be a sensible ghost. Gu Yang snorted coldly, swung his spear. The sound of dragon chant erupted, the power of dragon veins erupted, the power of dragon blood surged, and he blocked it with a single shot. Boom! Both of them summoned the power of the dragon veins, and neither of them held back the blow. Under the agitation of the berserk force, the bodies of the 2 of them shook violently, and they took 7 or 8 steps back at the same time to stabilize their figures. How can this be? Seeing this scene, the powerful members of the Mammoth Golem family looked horrified, especially the one who boasted that Xiangtu was not serious. His eyes were about to protrude. Xiangtu's 9 dragon veins were all summoned, and visions also appeared, which meant that he didn't hold back at this time. In a state of no reservations, he even fought with this bald human race? This made them unacceptable. I do not believe. Xiangtu was extremely furious. This bald man was just one of Long Chen's subordinates. It was already a great shame to be defeated by Long Chen last time. Now he is stopped by Long Chen's men. What face does he have? Boom boom boom. The bone spear in Xiangtu's hand rushed towards Gu Yang like a violent storm. The powerful momentum was like an angry wild elephant, irresistible, and Gu Yang was killed and retreated again and again for a while. Boom! While Xiangtu and Gu Yang were fighting fiercely, on the other side, a leader also fought with a member of the Dragon Blood Legion. Your Majesty Long Chen, Li Qi, the commander of the 2nd Legion of the Dragon Blood Legion, is here to ask for advice. On Li Qi's fist, spar-dotted, blocked a huge saber and announced his name. Opposite him is a monster with blue face and fangs, with a 1 horn on its head. It is full of vigor and blood. It is a leader of the same level as Ho Tianwu, Xiangtu and others, and has a very high prestige among the monster clan. At this moment it was startled and angry, and Li Qi actually blocked its saber with his bare hands, which was simply contempt for him. Die! The green-faced, long-toothed strong man let out a roar, and kicked Li Qi fiercely, but Li Qi dodged sideways lightly, then turned around, and threw out his big hand with the swing of his body. Snapped! Li Qi's big hand slapped its face fiercely, and with a bang, the green-faced, long-toothed monster groaned in pain, and flew upside down. Half of its face was bloody. Wow! I successfully imitated the boss move. Li Qi actually looked at his big hand in disbelief, with a look of surprise on his face. In the Dragon Blood Legion, there is almost no one who does not envy Long Chen's slap magic, but no one can get the essence of it. Li Qi's unintentional blow today actually hit him, which surprised and delighted Li Qi. Damn human race, I want to eat your flesh and drink your blood. The monster was slapped, and suddenly fell into madness. It stepped out in front of Li Qi. Li Qi waved his hand, and slapped it away again. He wanted to strike while the iron was hot, to see if he could further comprehend this move, but as a result, half of the slap was drawn out, and there was a sharp pain in his chest, and he was actually hit by the unicorn on the top of the monster's head. Boom! With a bang, Li Qi flew far away, but what was shocking was that Li Qi was hit to the point, but he acted like a normal person. Seeing the crystal-like brilliance on his chest slowly dissipating, Li Qi felt a little scared. Fortunately, the power of this spar protects my body automatically. If it was before, this blow would probably kill me half my life. No, not everyone can play the trick of the boss. The success just now is just luck, so it should be accepted as soon as it is good. Die. Just as Li Qi stabilized his figure, the monster had already killed him. On Li Qi's hands, spar appeared, as if he was wearing a pair of spar gloves, and fought hard against it. Boom, boom, boom. The fists came and went, the two figures collided back and forth, and every time they collided, there would be a terrifying ripple. Your Majesty Long Qin, the commander of the 3rd Legion of the Dragon Blood Legion. Call, however, when Song Mingyuan stopped a leader-level powerhouse from registering himself, the other party kicked him violently without giving him a chance to finish speaking. When that foot was half a foot away from Song Mingyuan's head, a mirror-thin earth wall emerged. The earth wall was not big, but it accurately blocked the opponent's foot. Boom! What is shocking is that such a thin layer of soil actually blocked the blow of the strong man who condensed the dragon energy of 9 heavenly veins. You know, that person also possesses the power of the Emperor's blood and is one of the 5 chiefs, so he was actually blocked by such a thin layer of soil? Just when the Monster Clan leaders were horrified and the Monster Clan leader couldn't believe it, Song Mingyuan had already punched him in the chest. This punch, without any power, let alone the howling wind, looked soft, but when the punch hit his chest, boom, it was as if the divine drum was beaten, and then people saw that the monster leader's chest collapsed slightly, and then a big hole exploded in the leather armor behind him. Puff! The leader of the Monster Clan spurted out a mouthful of blood, and flew out backwards. Song Mingyuan slowly withdrew his fist, and said with a serious face, "Under the seat of Long Qin, Song Mingyuan, the commander of the 3rd Army of the Dragon Blood Legion, is here to learn." At that moment, the strong men of the Sky Demon Alliance opened their mouths wide open. This Song Mingyuan obviously looked harmless to humans and animals, with a look of humility on his face, but he was so ruthless when he shot. The most frightening thing is that there is no dragon vein flying around him, but he can knock away the leader of the Monster Clan who has summoned the power of Dragon Vein with one punch. What kind of monster is this guy? No, look at his feet. Someone exclaimed, and it was only then that people noticed that there was a 9-dragon pattern on the ground under Song Mingyuan's feet. It turns out that the power of his dragon veins is concentrated in the ground under his feet. Someone shouted, "Ah!" Just when everyone was shocked by Song Mingyuan's strength, there was a scream from a distance, and the strong men of the Monster Clan were shocked. That voice is. They searched for their reputation, and they saw the leader of the last demon clan. One arm disappeared at this moment, and he flew out of the distorted space covered in blood. Chapter 5692. With this scream, Ho Tian's huge body, like a shooting star, flew from the periphery to the battlefield and landed in the camp of the strong Monster Clan. With a bang, a huge crater was smashed out of the ground. Countless Monster Clan powerhouses who couldn't dodge in time were smashed to death in an instant. The Monster Clan camp was in chaos for a while, and when countless people looked at Ho Tianwu, they were all shocked. At this time, Ho Tianwu was transformed into a body of thousands of miles, but his whole body was bloody, his flesh was covered with claw marks and tooth marks, his whole body was almost torn to pieces. Seeing this scene, the powerful members of the Sky Demon and Golden Monkey clan were extremely shocked and hurried forward to protect Ho Tianwu. Boom! However, as soon as their figures moved, the 9-tailed shroud opened the sky and the earth, and violent air waves raged. The figure of the purple-eyed 9-tailed demon fox appeared as if teleported and rushed over fiercely. It was directly blown away by the terrifying wind. At this time, the purple-eyed 9-tailed demon fox had bulging veins on his forehead, and his purple pupils were covered with bloodshot eyes. His ferocious arrogance rose to the sky, and his cold, killing intent caused the temperature of the whole world to drop rapidly. The purple-eyed 9-tailed demon fox has entered a berserk state, and now it has already lost its mind, with only killing in its eyes. Boom! Just as Ho Tianwu was about to get up, he was held tightly by the claws of the purple-eyed 9-tailed fox. The huge mouth of the 9-tailed fox opened, and a purple vortex emerged, instantly condensing into a ball of light like a star. As soon as the ball of light came out, the terrifying power of death radiated out, causing countless people to feel their souls tremble. This was a fatal blow. Ho Tianwu had already been severely injured, and it was inevitable that this blow would end him. My lord, the powerful members of the Sky Demon Golden Monkey clan rushed towards the purple-eyed nine-tailed demon fox frantically, but the distance was too far and it was too late. Call. The light ball in the mouth of the purple-eyed nine-tailed demon fox hit Ho Tianwu's head fiercely. At that moment, people even expected the scene of Ho Tianwu's head exploding. Boom! Suddenly, a dazzling golden light exploded from Ho Tianwu's body. The huge body of the purple-eyed nine-tailed demon fox was thrown out by the terrifying golden light bullet, and the purple ball of light it spit out also changed direction and stuck to the ground. Gallop away! Puff puff! The sudden change killed countless people unawares, and the powerhouses of the monster clan were unable to react in time, and were directly killed by the light ball. It was originally to watch the excitement, but it turned out to be the excitement. The ball of light directly penetrated the Yaozu team, and the strong Yaozu team in a line was instantly emptied. Boom! In the end, the ball of light hit the barrier of dragon scales, and with a bang, the barrier shattered. Unexpectedly, really unexpected, the family of the purple-eyed nine-tailed demon fox has not yet become extinct. At this moment, Ho Tianwu, who was covered in blood, stood up with a cold and arrogant expression on his face, but when he spoke, countless strong men were astonished. "He's not Ho Tianwu," someone exclaimed. Not only the voice has changed, but also the breath has changed, and the voice is old, full of majesty, like an emperor descending. Puff! The purple-eyed nine-tailed demon fox spurted out a mouthful of blood. It fell on the ground, staring at Ho Tianwu with both eyes. Suddenly, its 9 tails separated like a fan, and flames rose from the 9 tails. To everyone's horror, its breath, still skyrocketing. "No wonder you can defeat my son. You have already awakened the forbidden technique of the purple-eyed nine-tailed demon fox family, the technique of burning blood and attacking violently. Forget it, meeting this old man today was due to the fate of your purple-eyed nine-tailed demon fox clan, so let this old man take your life himself." Ho Tianwu said indifferently. It turns out that Ho Tianwu's father, who is also the current patriarch of the Sky Demon Golden Monkey clan, gave Ho Tianwu a jade card containing the essence and blood of his own life in order to prevent his son from having any accidents. This life essence and blood contained his spirit and will, which could be attached to Ho Tianwu's body, but this part of life essence and blood did not help Ho Tianwu much. Because Ho Tianwu's body couldn't bear the power of this blood essence at all, using it forcibly would only explode his body. But when this blood essence is combined with the long stick in his hand, it will be different. Because of his realm, Ho Tianwu can't really control the golden long stick. But Ho Tianwu's father was different. He was originally a god-level powerhouse, sealed from the era of chaos by the Heavenly Demon and Golden Monkey clan who spent endless resources. The resources needed to automatically seal a God-Emperor-level powerhouse are much more than those consumed by Heavenly Saint-level powerhouses, and ordinary forces simply cannot afford it. However, the Sky Demon Golden Monkey clan has a profound heritage. When they gritted their teeth, they sealed Ho Tianwu and his son together and awakened them in this generation. Now Ho Tianwu's father is in control of Ho Tianwu's body, the golden stick glows, and the divine light slowly pours into Ho Tianwu's body, forming a protective divine light around his body. Apparently Ho Tianwu's father also knew that his son's body was very weak. If he used too much force, it would put a huge load on his body, so he protected his body first. Facing Ho Tianwu, who was controlled by his father, the purple-eyed nine-tailed demon fox did not have a trace of fear. What it had in its eyes was only the violent killing intent. The 9 tails were burning, and amidst thousands of roars, it rushed forward with its 4 claws propped up on the ground. Boom! The violent impact formed a huge shock wave, the space was distorted, and the avenue runes continued to shatter. The scene was extremely terrifying. The figure of the purple-eyed nine-tailed demon fox, like a ray of light, penetrated most of the battlefield in an instant, and rushed in front of Ho Tianwu. Die! Ho Tianwu stopped drinking. the long golden stick in his hand trembled, the golden light flowed on the stick, and the runes were entwined. At that moment, driven by the blood essence of Ho Tianhui's father, the golden stick looked like a revived wild beast, facing the purple pupil and 9 tails. The demon fox smashed hard. Boom, a transparent ripple instantly spread, covering the entire audience. At that moment, the flow of time between heaven and earth seemed to slow down. People saw the figure of the purple-eyed 9-tailed demon fox slowly flying backwards, and a large amount of blood stained the sky. Obviously, when Ho Tianhui's father took control of Ho Tianhui's body and aroused all the power of the golden stick, the purple-eyed 9-tailed demon fox was no match at all. Xiaojiu. Seeing the blood of the purple-eyed 9-tailed demon fox splashing into the sky, Bai Xiaole let out a stern roar. He didn't care about the leader of the demon clan in front of him, so he rushed to save Xiaojiu. Dai, seeing that Xiaojiu was wounded and his life and death were unknown, Bai Xiaole's mood was instantly disturbed, and while he was in a panic, the battle axe of the leader of the monster clan slashed fiercely at Bai Xiaole's back. Snapped, however, just as the giant axe was about to strike Bai Xiaole, a big metal-covered hand grabbed the blade of the axe, and it was Guoran who made the move. Bai Xiaole broke away from the opponent's lock in an instant and disappeared in an instant. Chapter 5695. Originally, Guoran was fighting fiercely with the leader of the monster clan, but Guoran kept defending instead of attacking, as if he was beaten too weak to fight back. This situation is the same as when Bai Xiaole fought with him before. As time passed, the leader of the monster clan became more courageous, and only attacked but not defended. And when Guoran summoned a complete battle armor, his aura surged and he counterattacked forcefully in an instant, and the leader of the monster clan was killed in an instant. All of this was planned, except for the real bloody battle of the purple-eyed 9-tailed demon fox. The rest of the people did not work hard for the purpose of delaying time. Powerhouses like Fantienda have been observing secretly for a long time. They deliberately left the opportunity to the Yaozu, just to let the Yaozu test the strength of the Dragon Blood Legion. However, the Yaozu was too stretched, and they almost lost their patience to fight out several times. Later, Ho Tianwu used his father's blood power to let them continue to watch for a while. It wasn't until Ho Tianwu was killed that Fan Tienda finally couldn't hold back. He could see that the monster race couldn't test the strength of the Dragon Blood Legion at all. Long Chen is alone in the dragon scale space, and no one knows what he is doing. It is not an option to go on like this. We must put some pressure on Long Chen. It is best to kill some people from the Dragon Blood Legion and lure Long Chen out, so he stood up. Boom, over there, Guoran killed the leader of the demon tribe with one blow. At the same time, Gu Yang's dragon blood power burned, and a spear pierced out like lightning. Puff, Xiangtu dodged, but found that at the moment he dodged, the spear pierced his chest strangely, and the severe pain paralyzed his whole body, and he couldn't believe it. Idiot, I used this trick 3 times before, and you used the same movement to dodge each time. This time you still use this trick. It's not how strong I am, but because you are too stupid. Gu Yang shook his head. Boom, Gu Yang's spear trembled, the power of the dragon erupted, Xiangtu's body was instantly torn apart, and he was instantly killed. Puff, at the moment when Gu Yang killed Xiang, Li Qi punched him, smashing the head of the leader of the monster clan roughly, and the headless corpse fell to the ground slowly. The 3 leaders were instantly killed, and the leader who was still madly attacking Song Mingyuan was so frightened that his liver and gallbladder were torn apart. He suddenly backed up quickly and chose to escape. However, the moment he fled, a big hand protruded from the ground and grabbed one of his legs. The leader of the monster clan was horrified. Just as he was about to struggle, a huge force came and his body was thrown away. Puff! The leader of the monster clan rolled rapidly and flew directly in front of Gu Yang. Gu Yang had already set his posture, and the strong monster clan sent the center of his eyebrows to the tip of Gu Yang's spear, and his head was pierced instantly. The last leader of the monster tribe also died. He had been enjoying the killing just now, but now all of them were killed in a snap of the fingers, and all the spectators were shocked. Puff puff. At this moment, The Dragon Blood Legion and the Hidden Dragon Legion also erupted with all their strength, bursting out with sword energy, and those strong monsters who were besieging the Dragon Blood Legion frantically were wiped out in an instant. At that moment, everyone in the audience was shocked. The powerhouses of the Northern Alliance and the Southern Alliance also opened their mouths wide at this time. Before they saw that the Dragon Blood Legion was too dangerous, they almost couldn't help but want to help them several times. Now they know that the Dragon Blood Legion has been play pig eat tiger. The strong monsters are endless, and the strong ones who ran to the front were all killed. The strong monsters behind were lucky, because they were not strong enough to go to the front line, so they survived. Seeing that the leader and the elite were all killed, these strong monsters ran away in fright, receding like a tide, and escaped cleanly within a few breaths. However, the performance of the Dragon Blood Legion shocked the audience, but Fan Tienda was not surprised at all, as if everything was in his expectation. "You go to meet that woman, be careful," Brahma said to a short man beside him. Yes, the short man over there stepped forward, and when he reappeared, he was already in front of Baishurshur. The speed was staggering. Baishurshur has put away the Golden Goddess at this time, because the state of the Golden Goddess consumes a lot. In addition, the state of the Golden Goddess is only used for huge opponents. If the opponent is a human race, in such a huge state, the opponent is extremely flexible. No matter how strong the attack is, if the opponent cannot be cut, it is meaningless and will be consumed alive. At this moment, a short man appeared, with a long sword shining with golden light, like a poisonous snake spitting out a letter. It went straight to Baishishi's throat. This man is a head shorter than normal, with a dark complexion and indifferent eyes. At first glance, he looks like a rather dull character who doesn't talk too much. When he makes a move, he is a fierce lore. When Baishishi's golden sword was unsheathed, and the two long swords slashed at each other, making a crisp sound, Baishurshur and the man shook at the same time, and took a few steps back. Baishishi's expression changed slightly. This man's weapon was extremely weird. The golden power in the long sword was wrapped in powerful sacred power, and she couldn't absorb half of it. Obviously, the other party saw her ability and sent this man just to restrain her power. After the blow, neither of them took advantage of it. Both of them stopped drinking at the same time, and both summoned the power of the dragon vein. However, when the power of the dragon veins was summoned, countless people exclaimed that the man's 9 dragon veins were arranged in a circle, forming a dragon ring. 9 veins unite? Half-step emperor? Someone exclaimed. How dare he? The 9 meridians merge into one. If one is not well controlled, it will lead to a catastrophe, and he will directly advance to the human sovereign. Some people can't understand, this person must be too courageous. You must know that everyone gathered the Tianmai Dragon Chi in the Tianmai Profound Realm. In such a short period of time, the realm has improved so fast, no matter who it is, there will definitely be problems in controlling it. In this state, the 9 meridians are united, and most people can hardly control that kind of power, and they will directly break through the realm and attack the emperor, but this man actually did it. When the 9 meridians were summoned, the terrifying coercion of the dragon veins and the power of destiny instantly made people feel the gap between them. Baishurshur fought fiercely with Ho Tianwu before, with overwhelming momentum, but now, in front of that short man, she has a tendency to be overwhelmed. Compared with Jumai He, the disadvantages of Jumai Tianxing are too obvious. Su Yu, who was in the Southern Alliance, watched this scene and couldn't help but feel agitated. The most important thing is that this man's divine power is so terrifying, it's not just a common fusion of 9 veins. A man said. The man who spoke was none other than the leader of the Northern Alliance. His name was Su Zheng. As his name suggested, he was an extremely upright person. Last time, Long Chen gave them the opportunity to let each of them comprehend at least one Jiuli talisman. In order not to make others jealous, he ran away immediately. Later, they discovered that the Jiuli talisman was in their bodies, giving them an opportunity to break through the shackles and condense their own dragon veins. Only then did they realize that what Long Chen gave them was not a rune, but a chance to change their fate against the sky. Now everyone in the Northern Alliance has awakened their natal dragon veins. Although most of them have 1 and 2 veins, compared with ordinary heavenly saints, they are already very satisfied. And Jumai Tianxing had a total of 127 people. At that time, Su Zheng was full of spirits, thinking that the Northern Alliance had completely stood up, and even if they were not top-level powerhouses, they were still above average. When he felt the aura of Emperor Dao Nilin, he led everyone to kill him without even thinking about it. It felt good at first. With this prosperous lineup, many forces were directly frightened away. But the more they moved forward, the colder their hearts became. They finally understood what it means to be strong like a cloud, and finally they only dared to find a safe place to improve. Later, the Dragon Blood Legion showed up and knew that it was Long Chen who came. They couldn't help but feel excited. Everything they had was given by Long Chen. As long as Long Chen was in trouble, they would support him even if they died. So when the Dragon Blood Legion was fighting, when they helped the Dragon Blood Legion occupy the position, others couldn't see the way, and thought they were taking advantage of the fire to absorb energy. What Su Zheng didn't expect was that the Southern Alliance led by Su Yu also rushed over. After asking, he knew that they had also received the favor of Long Chen, so he risked his life to come to support. However, compared with the Northern Alliance, Su Ye's strength is far worse than that of the Northern Alliance. Even including Su Yu, there are only 7 people who have condensed 9 natal dragon veins. The whole team, most of them are ordinary saints, was shocked when she saw Su Zheng. When did the Northern Alliance become so strong? After asking, I realized that this was a great favor from Long Chen, so there is nothing to say. Now that Long Chen is in trouble, they can help as much as they can. Boom boom boom. At this moment, Bai Shishir, who was fully fired, danced with the man's long sword, fighting crazily. The golden light collided with Shenhui, and the ear-piercing sonic boom resounded through Jiotin. This is a pinnacle duel. Compared with this battle, the previous boss duels are just like children fighting. Chi-chi-chi. The sword chi kept splitting the void, leaving scars. Every time the sword chi passed through the void, one could see the Dao rune being torn apart, making the scalps of countless strong men numb. So strong, Su Ye's fists were clenched tightly, and her palms were full of sweat. Even if she wanted to help in a battle of this level, she would have no chance, so she could only silently pray for Bai Shishir. However, Bai Shishi's aura was obviously overwhelmed by that man, but Bai Shishi's attack was still fierce, and she did not lose the wind in the slightest. Such a violent confrontation was the only thing she had ever seen in her life. Boom boom boom. The two confronted each other frantically, refusing to give an inch, but a stick of incense passed, and there was still no winner, and the aura of the two did not decrease at all. Brahma had been watching the battle, gradually becoming impatient, and coldly snorted, "You can't kill this woman within 10 moves, so go die too." Hearing Brahma's words, the man gritted his teeth suddenly. The divine power burns, and the dragon veins return to the body. The man roared, and the dragon veins on his back were swallowed by the flames in an instant, turning into a torrent of lava and pouring into his body. Boom! With a loud bang, the man's aura rose a lot in an instant. The long sword in his hand was burning, and he roared and stabbed it Bai Shishir with the sword in one pair. At this time, he had already fallen into madness. Chapter 5696, The Power of Gold. Wanrui swallows the sky. Suddenly, the long sword in Bai Shishi's hand pierced into the ground under his feet, and then the ground turned golden, and lotus flowers bloomed one after another. A total of 9 golden lotus flowers lined up in front of Bai Shishir. Boom 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 boom. The golden lotus flowers were pierced by the man one by one, and the moment the 9th golden lotus was pierced, Bai Shishi's long sword pointed at the sky, ready to go. On the long sword, 9 the dragon shadow entangled, and when the man appeared, he suddenly fell. Boom! With a bang, the man was sent flying by a sword, and blood spurted wildly. Puff, however, when he was flying upside down, suddenly a sharp sword pierced his back directly from behind, and pierced through his chest, piercing through his body. What? People were astonished. the long sword was in by Shishi's hand, and 2 by Shirshir appeared on the battlefield. Soon, the original by Shirshir slowly disappeared, and people realized that after the emotional by Shirshir repelled that person with a sword, what was left on the ground was the Golden Lotus wreckage, which was her domain teleportation array. Feel free to appear in one of these positions. The man flew in a straight line, backed up in a straight line. By Shirshir teleported to the position of the first Golden Lotus and waited for a blow to severely damage it. The man looked at the long sword in front of his chest with a look of horror, and at this moment by Shishi's voice came, "You didn't die by my hands, but by your master's stupidity. Change your master in your next life." Laugh. The moment the golden long sword was pulled out from the man's body, his soul was also pulled out, and the body slowly fell to the ground. The strong man with 9 veins united in one was killed just like that. Countless people were shocked. 9 veins united in one. He was a half-step human emperor, and he also possessed such terrifying power of faith, so he died like this? Just when the man was burning the dragon veins desperately, his aura was almost a multiple of by Shishi's, but how could the stronger he was, the faster he would die? Only a few people saw the clues. As by Shirshir said, he died of Brahma's stupidity. His strength is very strong, and there are still many powerful moves that have not been used. The first confrontation between the strong is to find out the details and weaknesses of the other party. Most of them are probing, with reservations. But that person didn't know the details of Bai Shirshir, and Fan Tianda issued a death order, asking him to defeat Bai Shirshir within 10 moves. When he said 10 moves, he was actually expressing his dissatisfaction. The man understood what he meant, so he naturally didn't think about defeating Bai Shirshir in the 10th move, but the sooner he defeated the better. It would be best if he could score 1 move. Win or lose. In the end, his goal was achieved. Not only did he decide the outcome with 1 move, but he also divided life and death. However, this result was not what he wanted. The golden long sword in Bai Shishi's hand was drawn across the air, and the blood stained on the long sword was thrown to the ground. She looked at Fan Tianda coldly without saying a word. At this time, Brahma's face was extremely ugly. He hated Long Chen, but he was arrogant. These people in front of him were all Long Chen's subordinates. How could he, the son of Brahma, personally deal with Long Chen's subordinates? "My lord, please allow me to make a move, and I promise to kill her within 10 moves." At this moment, beside Fan Tianda, a creature with 3 eyes came out and volunteered. Fan Tianda nodded slightly when he saw this creature, and was about to speak when suddenly a voice came from a distance. "How long are you guys going to play this boring game? I don't have that patience anymore." A figure wearing a cloak appeared, and the moment he appeared, the cold air hit, as if to freeze the soul of the person. People couldn't help but be horrified. This person's aura carried endless death, as if he was a demon king from hell. When people looked at his face, their scalps felt even more numb. This person's face was bloody, and there were even bones visible in some places. The eye sockets are even more hollow. In the depths of the eye sockets, there seems to be a strange flame beating. When I see the flame, I feel that my soul is about to be sucked in. This person is none other than Li Changging, but compared to when Long Chen met, his flesh and blood grew a bit, and his aura became more terrifying. I can't wait any longer. This kind of fighting alone is too boring. At this moment, endless dragon powerhouses emerged, and the leader was Minglong Tianfeng. When people saw Minglong Tianfeng, they couldn't help but shrink their pupils. He also condensed 13 heavenly peaks. Pulse Dragon Spirit. I don't want to wait anymore. A voice like an oriole coming out of the valley came, and it sounded like a woman's voice. However, when they saw the owner, countless people were stunned. The owner of this beautiful voice was indeed a woman, but she had the same waist, bust, and hips. Thick, fat, and extremely ugly woman. Countless creatures followed behind that woman. On these creatures, there was a vast water system fluctuation, and at the same time, there was a pungent fishy smell. Kraken. From the fluctuations in these creatures, people can easily tell where they come from, but which clan they belong to, they don't manifest themselves, so they can't tell. And the fat and ugly woman in the lead, with sticky messy hair, opened her mouth and directly covered half of her face, but behind this woman also had 13 dragon energy from the sky. It seemed that it was another and extremely terrifying existence. Get out of the way for me, I want to kill all of Long Chen's people. If anyone dares to stop me, don't blame my god dragon for killing innocent people indiscriminately. Just as a strong member of the Kraken clan appeared, an arrogant voice resounded across the battlefield like thunder. Immediately afterwards, a large group of figures appeared. When seeing this group of people, someone exclaimed, "It is the 4 great gods. The 4 great Protoss races are mysterious, but they have a powerful reputation. After all, they are strong men with the blood of Jiuli. The Jiuli clan is one of the most powerful races in the history of the human race. Even though the human race has fallen, no one dares to provoke them." Long Zhe walked at the forefront of the team. He was full of blood, and 13 black dragon veins rolled on his back, as if he was carrying an ocean on his back. The vast energy and blood caused the space he passed to distort and deform, and the momentum was terrifying. Extreme. Long Zhe's eyes were fierce. In this world, the person he hates the most is Long Chen, and he will never let go of anyone related to Long Chen. Isn't it a pity that you killed them like this? At this moment, a feminine voice came, followed by the sound of horseshoes, and a group of knights in golden armor came over. The leader is Yu Changfeng, the leader of the golden armored knights. If Long Chen is there, he will be shocked, because this guy has condensed 13 dragon veins, which is simply unbelievable. But the person who spoke just now was not him, but Tuming beside him. Tuming is also the heavenly sage of 9 meridians. Seeing that everyone's eyes were on her, he suddenly said proudly, "I think it's better to throw the people in the Dragon Blood Legion to death on the enchantment of the dragon scale space one by one, use their flesh and blood to dye the enchantment red, and see if the guy inside will remain indifferent? What about my proposal?" Tuming made a smile that he thought was cute, but Lu Qingxuang in the team was ashamed. With the help of the Tsanghuang battle armor, Yu Changfeng broke through the shackles and condensed 13 dragon energy from the sky. He was defiant and could no longer listen to her words. And under Tuming's instigation, he has included Long Chen in the list of people who must be killed, and now she can no longer stop him. She can only look at everything in front of her numbly. She is defeated, completely defeated, gave Tuming. Now that Tuming showed her a provocative expression, she was so numb that she couldn't even express her anger. However, when Tuming challenged Lu Qingxuang with the victor's attitude, she was shocked suddenly, and the space around her formed a vortex to swallow her. Tuming exclaimed, and Yu Changfeng reached out to grab her, but it was a step too late. 2 men has disappeared. "Your suggestion is very good, I'll let you try it first," came the fused voice of the purple-eyed 9-tailed demon fox and Bai Xiaola. Immediately after the void exploded, the disappeared Tuming reappeared. People found that Tuming's dragon vein power had been stripped away, like a meteor crashing into the enchantment of the dragon scale world. "Brother Changfeng, save me!" Tuming yelled in horror. Puff! However, it was too late. As soon as she finished yelling, she slammed into the barrier hard, and with a bang, her body exploded into a cloud of blood. On the enchantment, a red spot was dyed. This Jumai Tianxing is a top powerhouse in the eyes of countless people, but here, her life is as worthless, and she was killed instantly, even in the moonlight. Changfeng's side also doesn't make any sense. Tuming died, and Yu Changfeng became furious in an instant. This was not just the person who killed him, but more like slapping him in the face. "Kill these idiots!" Yu Changfeng let out a shocking roar, and the horse under his crotch flew all 4 hooves, and rushed straight to the Dragon Blood Legion. His speed became faster and faster, forming a terrifying shock wave. 1 person and 1 horse formed a charge. The power of this blow, enough to destroy the world. And the moment he rushed out, tens of millions of knights of the golden armored knights followed closely, and a golden torrent rushed towards the Dragon Blood Legion. "Damn it, are you ignoring Lao Tzu's words? Are you forcing me to kill you as well?" Seeing Yu Changfeng strike first, Long Zhe was furious and wanted to kill him. "You can't beat Long Chen. Are you deliberately looking for the weak to vent your anger? Go, the time to prove your bravery has come." Long Tianrui said lightly. What did you say? Long Zhe was furious. However, Long Tianrui didn't bother to talk to him. She knew that Long Zhe had already fallen for his aggressive strategy, and the next thing was to watch the duel between the Dragon Blood Legion and the Golden Armored Knights. Boom! Just when the Golden Armored Knights rushed in front of the Dragon Blood Legion, the ground suddenly exploded, and a city wall thousands of miles thick and incalculably long emerged. The little earthen wall also wants to stop me. Yu Changfeng, you group of ants will die to me. Yu Changfeng galloped his horse and ran directly against the earthen wall. Boom! With a loud explosion, a big hole was smashed through the earthen wall, but Yu Changfeng rushed over, but his horse disappeared. The rest will be updated at 6 p.m. and there will be no less than 20 chapters today. I would like to thank the classmate, hidden, on the Douyin list for their strong support and help Lao Mo recover. At the same time, thank you for your tolerance and understanding for Lao Mo. At 3 p.m. The old devil will continue to broadcast live code words on Douyin. Everyone is welcome to supervise. Douyin search, ordinary magician will do. Chapter 5700. Boom! The Dragon Blood Cross / broke out and accurately hit Fan Tianda, but Guoran hadn't waited for Guoran to express his joy. The endless divine light scattered, revealing the figure of Fan Tianda. When seeing Fan Tianda's appearance, Guoran and others' jaws almost dropped in shock. Brahma didn't have any damage. The original clothes were shattered, but the tight scales under the clothes were exposed. The scales were made up of thumb-sized scales. When Guoran saw each scale, Guoran's eyes instantly shrank into needle points. Evil pattern. The scales were inlaid with blood-colored runes, and Guoran recognized them at a glance. They were the natal runes of the strong in the God-Emperor realm. In other words, each of these scales represents the life of a strong person in the God-Emperor realm, and there are hundreds of scales, which represent the lives of hundreds of God-Emperor powerhouses. This scale armor is an evil weapon. In order to maximize the power of the scale armor, the God-Emperor was directly refined to form a living sacrifice. The method was extremely cruel. However, in this way, the most powerful power of the strong man can be preserved, and finally the resentment can be refined with divine power without damaging its original power. This often takes tens of thousands of years. And this piece of scale armor is a treasure handed down from the era of chaos, and finally fell into the hands of Brahma. But it is not an easy task to activate this armor. If he hadn't condensed 13 dragon veins and his sacred power had reached an unprecedented height, he would not be qualified to wear it at all. Fan Tianda was fortunately wearing this scale armor, otherwise Guoran's almost sneak attack would have caught him off guard, and he would have been seriously injured even if he didn't die. Fortunately, I listened to the boss and didn't use all my strength. Otherwise, even if I drained the entire Dragon Blood Legion, I might not be able to break through its defense. At that moment, Guoran broke out in a cold sweat. Long Chen had told him before not to rely too much on the Dragon Blood Cross / let alone place all bets on it. In fact, Guoran has always believed that the strength of the crowd is astonishing, and he does not believe that anyone in the same level can block the blow of so many fighters of the Dragon Blood Legion. However, he was quite obedient, and only used 10% of the strength of each Dragon Blood warrior. He had been waiting for an opportunity to see if he could kill a strong man with 13 veins by surprise. In this way, the pressure on everyone would be less go up a lot. As a result, this unexpected blow ushered in a desperate evil weapon. If you want to break Brahma's defense, you must consume all the energy of hundreds of God-Emperor powerhouses contained in this scale armor. Not to mention Brahma's strength, this piece of scale armor alone was so powerful that it was hopeless. At that moment, Guoran's heart went cold. And Fan Tianda was also afraid for a while. He roared, his figure flickered, the long sword tore through the sky, and slashed down on Guoran. Boom! With a loud explosion, Guoran spat out a mouthful of blood, and the saber in his hand was cut in two by Fan Tianda's sword. What? Seeing this scene, everyone in the Dragon Blood Legion was shocked. This saber was a masterpiece created by Guoran just now, and it was cut off with a single blow? Seeing that Guoran was in danger, Gu Yang was the first to kill him, piercing through the air with a single shot, and rushed to attack what Brahma would save. Boom! As a result, there was a loud explosion, and Gu Yang's spear was cut off by Fan Tianda's sword. It is your honor to die on the Brahma blade blessed by the Brahma god. Brahma Tianda cut off the weapons of Guaran and Gu Yang with 2 consecutive swords, pierced through the air with 1 sword, and went straight to the unarmed Gu Yang. When the golden giant sword stood in front of Gu Yang, and it was by Shirshir who summoned the golden goddess to rescue him, but the huge golden man was still killed by the sword. His long sword has divine power attached to it, and only holy soldiers can resist it. Xia Chen shouted anxiously, and he saw the clue. Die! Brahma Tianda slashed down with his sword again, and went straight to Gu Yang to kill. When, however, at this moment, a long sword blocked him. This time, the long sword did not explode. When they saw the owner of the long sword, people suddenly discovered that Tang Weiner was the one who made the move. When people looked at the fat woman again, they saw the original battlefield, where endless chains circulated, and the fat woman who had transformed into dozens of figures was firmly trapped. It turned out that the fat woman didn't want to kill Tang Weiner so quickly. She was jealous of all beautiful women. She liked to torture and kill those beauties. Every time Tang Weiner cut her with a sword, she would be split in 2 more and more cut. She likes to use this method to make the enemy despair, but Tang Weiner is no longer the Tang Weiner she used to be. When she hit the 3rd sword, she found that this fat woman was not made of flesh and blood at all, but made of water. With a spiritual body, ordinary power can't hurt her at all. Just when Tang Weiner was formulating a plan to take advantage of her carelessness and hit her hard, Fan Tianda attacked everyone. She had no choice but to use the Fengshen chains to temporarily trap them. The Fengshen chains are condensed by the power of faith of the Fengshen's lineage, and because the fat woman had too many clones, her power was scattered, and she was trapped by the chains, so she couldn't escape for a while. And Tang Weiner took the opportunity to kill Fan Tianda, and blocked Fan Tianda's blow with a sword. The power of Brahma is the power of gods, and Tang Weiner's power of Fengshen is also the power of gods. This long sword was given to Tang Weiner by Feng Xinyue before Tang Weiner entered the Tianmai profound realm. Tang Weiner had been using it before, but she didn't feel anything special about it, but after she condensed 13 dragon veins, she really resonated with the long sword, and at the same time finally understood how to use the wind god sword. It's just that Tang Weiner's control is just the most superficial and simplest way to use it, but even so, the terrifying destructive power is still frightening. Boom! The 2 long swords roared and exploded, and under the collision of divine power, Fan Tianda and Tang Weiner retreated at the same time. You 2 mice, let me die. Suddenly there was a loud explosion in the distance, and Yu Changfeng, who was 1 against 2, roared, finally lost his patience, left the battle circle, and rushed straight towards the Dragon Blood Legion. If he fights alone, Yu Changfeng thinks that no one can block his 3 moves, but the 2 guys cooperate with each other, both offensive and defensive, seamless, leaving him with all his strength, but he can't perform it. Unable to attack for a long time, he suddenly abandoned the 2 of them and went straight to the Dragon Blood Legion to kill them. He was so angry that he had to kill some people to wash away his shame with blood, otherwise he felt like he was going crazy. However, what everyone didn't expect was that he actually killed the North-South Alliance. Originally, Guaran asked them to retreat and find a safe place to stay, but at that time, they were surrounded by enemies and they couldn't retreat at all. Later, Xia Chen simply told them not to move. Their actions had already offended everyone, and if they failed to get out, they would be wiped out in an instant. It would be safer to stay here. And Yu Changfeng actually set his sights on them. No one thought that Yu Changfeng would be so shameless. However, before Yu Changfeng rushed to the front, suddenly a strong figure appeared quietly, and a bone stick whizzed towards him. Boom! The bone stick hit Yu Changfeng's body, the ground exploded, the whole world tilted abruptly, and the tall figure of a man appeared in people's field of vision. Chapter 5703 The flame is so small that it looks like a candle, but its breath changes the color of the whole world. 2 groups of small flames were located on Long Chen's middle finger and thumb respectively. With their appearance, the world became flickering, night and day constantly changing, as if time and space were reversed. That flame is... Jiang Yue couldn't believe her eyes, and Feng Fei couldn't help but gasped when she saw the two flames. Two groups of flames emerged, and all phenomena took turns. In the hazy way of heaven, people seemed to see the scene of the sun and the moon shining together, and everyone felt awe-inspiring. However, although the pressure of these two flames is astonishing, the powerhouses of the major forces are not too frightened. They just slowly approach their leaders. They believe that no matter how strong Long Chen is, he will be besieged by so many people. Can't find any waves. Boss, new move. Bai Xiala looked at the two flames of Long Chen's finger. His eyes were full of excitement. The Dragon Blood warriors took advantage of this short rest and began to recover quickly, and their faces were also full of anticipation. Fan Tianda said, Long Chen, don't play tricks, it's just the fire of the yin and the fire of the sun. The power of this flame is not enough for us. If you are sensible, hand over the blood crystal of the Imperial Way, and I can protect you from death. How about canceling the previous grievances? Long Chen slowly turned his head to look at Fan Tianda, and looked at the endless human race powerhouses behind him, with a hint of sarcasm on the corner of his mouth. I still can't figure it out. As a human race, why do you want to kill each other? As a human race, for the sake of profit, you can join forces with the enemy? Could it be that in this world, there are really no eternal enemies, only eternal interests? Long Chen's voice was cold, and it sounded so harsh to the ears of the strong human race, because there were countless other forces in the center of the battlefield. There are demons, blood, evil spirits, and monsters among them, but when they besieged the Dragon Blood army, they did not interfere with each other, which was equivalent to forming temporary allies. These races have been slaughtering the human race for countless years, and the human race actually fought side by side with them. The most hateful thing is that the person who fought side by side and wanted to kill turned out to be his own clan. What an irony this is. Let's not talk nonsense. Master Tianda is the master of the human race, the hope of the future. Only he can lead the human race to glory. The Imperial Dao blood crystal is in your hands, and it is also a hidden gem. So hurry up and hand over the treasure, otherwise, neither you nor your subordinates will be able to leave the heavenly vein profound realm alive. Behind Brahma, a man in fine clothes yelled loudly, he is not from Brahma Pill Valley, I don't know which sect he is from. Behind Brahma, there are countless strong people of the human race, and there are tens of thousands of sects just by looking at the clothes. Obviously, these sects were recruited by Brahma either by coercion or lure. They are looking forward to Brahma, and they no longer have right and wrong in their hearts. Whatever Brahma wants them to do, they will scramble to do it first. They put in a lot of effort to besiege the Dragon Blood Legion before, but even though there were countless casualties, the lineup was still at its peak. You really know how to help dogs eat shit. Long Chen pouted. The man was furious. He was a strong man with 9 veins in one, but even though he was furious, he didn't dare to stand up. Not to mention that he didn't have the courage to single out Long Chen. Even when he spoke, he stood behind Fan Tianda cautiously, for fear that Long Chen's surprise attack would kill him. Brahma has lost patience and said coldly, Long Chen, stop talking nonsense, you have no choice, you know the means of my Brahma Pill Valley. If you offend me, not only you will die, but everyone who is involved with you will die. Will die, and will die a miserable death. Long Chen smiled. You are so stupid that you are going to die. I really can't think of it. How could Brahma recognize you as his son? Suddenly, the two flames in Long Chen's hands changed, and figures smaller than sesame seeds appeared one by one. Those were little golden crows and jade rabbits. When the golden tortoise merged into the fire of the sun and the jade rabbit merged into the fire of the lunar yin, a round of sun and a round of moon emerged at the same time above the 9 heavens and above everyone's heads, intertwined with darkness and light. The sun and the moonlight blend together. In a world where black and white are reversed, the law of 10,000 ways is thrown into confusion. In Long Chen's chaotic space, golden crows broke out of their shells one after another. After accumulating enough energy, they finally completed nirvana at this time. And the jade rabbits are also growing rapidly under the nourishment of the Taiyin tree, although their strength is much weaker than that of the golden crow. But their number is astonishing, almost endless. When they all poured into their respective flames, the two small flames burst out with power that frightened the world. The yin and the sun, who is weak and who is strong? The solitary yin does not grow, and the solitary yang does not grow. Long Chun groaned loudly, and following his voice, countless runes poured into the two flames from Long Chen's arm, and the two flames swirled rapidly, forming two flame vortexes, one positive and the other negative. The two flame vortexes are like two small universes. Long Chen's middle finger and thumb are closed, and the two flame vortexes overlap. At that moment, the hot high temperature disappears instantly, and the violent fluctuation between heaven and earth also disappears. The whole world has just dead silence. Yin and yang are both beneficial, and all dharmas will return. Snapped, as Long Chen read the last two sentences, the two fingers separated suddenly and snapped. At the moment when the crisp finger snapping sound came out, with Long Chen's palm as the core, a transparent Taiji diagram emerged. The eyes of the yin and yang fish in the Taiji diagram were the power of the sun and the power of the sun. Boom! The Taiji diagram spread rapidly, and the fires of yin and yang merged, repelling each other and blending with each other at the same time. When it broke away from the shackles of Long Chen, the violent power was instantly out of balance, just like the universe collapsed, and the violent power swept across the sky in an instant. All of this came too suddenly. Long Chen didn't summon visions, didn't summon dragon veins. Who would have thought that Long Chen was so insidious, holding back such a killer move silently? It was too late for everyone to react. Brahma Tianda, Minglong Tianfeng, Fat Woman, Yu Changfeng and others only had time to activate the divine light of body protection to protect themselves. Boom! The fire of the sun and the fire of the yin raged, instantly engulfing the space of millions of miles around, and covering everyone in the core battlefield. However, this blow had a precise limit. The strong men who watched the excitement outside were only a few miles away from the flames. They felt the scorching heat, but they didn't get hurt at all. Jiang Yue, Feng Fei and the others were all shocked. If the range of this blow was wider, all the four major gods would be engulfed in it. The scalps of all the spectators were numb. At that moment, they seemed to see their dead relatives, waving to them. Call, the power of the berserk flames erupted in an instant, and disappeared in an instant. It came and went quickly, and there was no time for people to react. However, when the flames dissipated, the core of the battlefield, where there were originally endless figures, now only remained a dozen or so. With this blow, even the dragon blood warriors opened their mouths wide in shock. Chapter 5704. With a flick of a finger, hundreds of millions of strong men were wiped out. These were all elite-level strong men who participated in the siege of the Dragon Blood Legion. The weakest ones had condensed the existence of 7 natal dragon veins, otherwise they would not be eligible to enter the battlefield. Among the hundreds of millions of powerhouses, Jumai Tianxing accounted for less than half, and there were also some terrifying first-level Jumai combined powerhouses, all of whom were killed in the end. One after another, in an instant, so many terrifying powerhouses disappeared. Even Jiang Yue, Feng Fei and other powerhouses couldn't believe their eyes, thinking that this was an illusion, a blindfold or a psychedelic technique. But hundreds of millions of strong men disappeared, but there were a few more strong men with 13 dragon veins condensed behind them. It turned out that these strong men had been hiding in the crowd and did not show up. Now that everyone has been killed, they have nowhere to hide, and they were forced out by Long Chen. Together with Fan Tianda, Li Changjing and 6 other people, there are a total of 13 superpowers on the field. It's impossible to comprehend this trick in an instant. You should have known it a long time ago. Why didn't you use it? At this time, the voice of the Chaos Dragon Emperor sounded in Long Chen's mind. Even it was shocked by Long Chen's blow, fusing 2 opposite forces together, and then detonating it. The terrifying impact was too amazing. This kind of fusion is simply whimsical. To succeed, it must go through countless trials, but it has never seen Long Chen make any moves, so it raised doubts. How dare I do it? That guy has been staring at me. I make a move, he learns a move, but I can't learn any of his moves. It's too stupid. Long Chen responded. Are you sure he's not spying on you now? Chaos Dragon Emperor asked. When I comprehended the 3,000 primordial runes, the first thing I thought about was the pupil fusion technique, using the eyes of purgatory to spy on him in reverse, but I succeeded. But I found that sometimes he is not in his home. When he is not at home, he can't spy on me, and of course I can't see him. I used him this time because I saw him at home, so I made the previous deployment. Long Chen said with a hey smile. You are really insidious. Chaos Dragon Emperor smiled wryly. I'm insidious? That guy is not much better. Facing such a powerful opponent like Zhuyin, why didn't he gradually squeeze out his opponent little by little, but seize a weak point and kill Zhuyin directly? It's not worried that you, Qian Kunding and Shi Yue memorized his tricks, and finally described them to me, lest I steal them. This guy has been deliberately trying to suppress me. I can't continue to be stupid, lest I be suppressed by him accidentally. I'm really screwed. I have already seen it secretly with the eyes of purgatory. After being hit by the Candle-Een blood curse, this guy has already run away from home, probably looking for a place to heal his injuries. He can't see any tricks I use now. Long Chen chuckled. Puff. It was only a blink of an eye to communicate with the Chaos Dragon Emperor with divine thoughts. The sound of vomiting blood brought Long Chen back to reality. Looking for his reputation, he saw Yu Changfeng, who was extremely embarrassed. At this time, Yu Changfeng was covered in blood, and the pale yellow battle armor no longer shone brightly, and it had become dim. Many places around his body were scorched, and his hair was even scorched. Obviously, the strength of this blow, the pale yellow armor could no longer resist, causing him to be injured. He fought fiercely with Li Qi and Song Mingyuan before, which consumed a lot of strength, but Li Qi's spar battle axe slashed at him several times, but was blocked by the pale yellow armor. If he hadn't been protected by the pale yellow battle armor, even if he was a heavenly sage with 13 meridians, he would still be tortured to death by the two of them. Now that the Tsanghuang battle armor has reached its limit, Fan Tianda, Li Changjing and others are all safe and sound. Obviously, their strength far exceeds Yu Changfeng. Although Long Chen's blow was terrifying, its range was too large and its power dispersed, so it was not enough to cause fatal injuries to a strong person of this level. Suddenly, Long Chen moved, and Yu Changfeng, who had just vomited blood, was startled. He stabbed forward with the spear in his hand, and at the same time, his figure retreated rapidly. What everyone didn't expect was that Yu Changfeng's blow directly pierced Long Chen's chest, but Long Chen's big hand also grabbed Yu Changfeng's throat. But when everyone took a closer look, Yu Changfeng's long spear just passed through Long Chen's body and didn't stab it, as if everything he saw just now was an illusion. Snapped, Long Chen's big hand grabbed Yu Changfeng's throat. Yu Changfeng's body trembled and he couldn't move immediately. He was pinched by Long Chen in his hand like a chicken. Long Chen looked at Yu Changfeng with a gloomy face. You are so stupid that you can't be cured. If you don't have my help, you won't get it at all. Without the pale yellow battle armor, you can't condense the 13 dragon energy of the sky. When you become stronger, you will take the lead in dealing with my brother. I, Long Chen, have seen countless people, but I haven't seen many animals like you who will repay kindness and revenge. Yu Changfeng had a frightened look on his face at this time, and he no longer had the arrogance of the past. He wanted to struggle, but his body was no longer in control. But turning his head to look at Fan Tianda and the others, he felt that Fan Tianda and the others should come to save him. After all, if he died, everyone would lose a combat power. But what made him desperate was that none of these people showed signs of making a move, they just watched quietly with indifference on their faces. Long Chen. A woman's mournful cry came from a distance. It was Lu Qingshuang. She wanted to intercede, but she couldn't open her mouth after all. It's useless. If he only deals with me, there is still room for maneuver, but as long as he is attacking my brothers, it is useless even if the Emperor of Heaven comes to intercede. Long Chen said coldly. Puff, With a bang, Yu Changfeng's head shattered and was killed by Long Chen. Yu Changfeng is really too stupid. Among the many 13-veined heavenly saints, he is the weakest one. Others regard him as a clown, but they don't know it. Now not only was he killed on the spot, but tens of millions of golden armored knights were involved in the death. It can be said that his death was entirely his own fault. Call, with a wave of Long Chen's hand, a long spear and his dim battle armor turned into a stream of light and flew towards Lu Qingshuang, who was grabbed by Lu Qingshuang. No matter what, I have fought side by side before, and I will return the things to you. As for the survival of Xingming Shenzong, it is in your hands. Long Chen said. Long Chen's meaning is very simple. If you give something to you, he doesn't like it. As for the life and death of Xingming Shenzong, it's up to Lu Qingshuang. Long Chen killed so many golden armored knights, Xingming Shenzong would definitely not let it go. If they dared to deal with Long Chen would dare to let Xingming Shenzong be removed from this world. But if Lu Qingshuang obtains these two treasures and becomes the new leader, then the fate of Xingming Shenzong is in her hands. Whether it is an enemy or a friend, it all depends on her thoughts. Lu Qingshuang hugged his pale yellow battle armor and spear, and thought of so many people dying, he couldn't help crying anymore, and left this sad place with tens of thousands of golden armored knights. Papa! At this moment, there was a burst of applause, and Li Changying came out and said calmly, "This figure separation technique is really wonderful, but it still can't change the cruel ending of your defeat." At this time, the other strong men also scattered, surrounding Long Chen at the core, devouring the world with fierce murderous aura. Chapter 5706. Following Long Chen's shout, people seemed to see a round of purple sun, shining brightly, piercing the sky. Boom! Violent purple waves washed over the sky and the earth. At that moment, the sky was cracking and the earth was sinking. Fan Tianda, Li Changying and the others were pushed back again and again by the terrifying waves, unable to stabilize their figures at all. The earth is split open again. Someone exclaimed that Long Chen in white had split the earth in half with a single knife, but after the Tianmai profound realm repaired itself, it returned to its original appearance. Now, thinking about Long Chen's terrifying breath, it seems that the old injury has relapsed and started to tear again. Boom! Huge waves rolled, divine sounds rumbled, and the divine power of the dragon's blood filled the entire world, covering the eternal dome. In front of this breath, everyone was as insignificant as ants. At this time, the 9 meridians merged into one, and the 13 dragon meridians were not enough to see at all, only the qualifications to prostrate on the ground and look up. Long Chen's aura is still surging wildly, and his killing intent rises like a volcano. At this time, he is like a demon god in hell being enraged, and his aura is accompanied by endless will to destroy. Long Chen. Seeing Long Chen's furious appearance, Tang Weiner's nose ached. No matter how powerful she was, Long Chen guarded her like his life. Long Chen's feelings towards her had never changed. At this moment, Tang Weiner's hand warmed up. It was Bai Shishir who grabbed her hand. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. At that moment, for the first time, they had the feeling of a soul-to-heart connection. Being protected by such a man, life and death seemed to have become unimportant. Is he crazy? In the camp of the gods in the distance, Jiang Yue opened the dragon's veins and faced the hurricane. Her face burst into severe pain, like a knife cut. The most terrifying thing was that the killing intent contained in this breath made her soul tremble, and she felt that her will collapsed. Long Chen is like this. When his beloved woman is injured, he will go crazy. Feng Fei struggled against the hurricane. It's just a little bit of skin. Jiang Yue yelled. In Long Chen's eyes, his confidant and hot-blooded brothers are more important than his life. Whenever someone hurts them, he will make the other party pay a painful price. Feng Fei said out of breath. This breath has already made her very uncomfortable. And the other powerhouses of the Protoss had already retreated far away, and they couldn't bear this terrifying impact at all. Damn it, if there is such a man doting on me, I would die for him. Jiang Yue gritted her teeth and said, Boom! But at this moment, a more violent air wave hit, and the law of heaven and earth seemed to break at this moment, and Jiang Yue and Feng Fei were blown out at the same time. After the huge waves raged, the world gradually returned to its original appearance, and people's vision was restored. When they saw the scene in front of them again, they all had expressions of disbelief. The earth was completely torn apart, the earth's crust was completely deformed, and lava was gushing out of the cracks, as if blood was flowing, and the vitality between the heaven and the earth was rapidly dissipating. Looking at the lifeless world, people seem to be transported to hell, feeling that their lives are slowly withering. That feeling is desperate. The power of the Tianmai profound realm is fading, and this world is about to collapse. Someone yelled in horror. It's not time for teleportation yet. Are we going to be destroyed along with this world? Someone's voice trembled. The faces of the strong men on the periphery are full of horror. Could it be that they will die here? What are you afraid of? Long Chen and the others are here too? Do you have any regrets to die with such a peerless powerhouse? Someone sneered. That's right, it's worth dying to be able to enjoy an amazing and eternal battle before dying. Seeing the center of the battlefield, those strong men were still surrounding Long Chen, and the battle was still going on. Some fanatics took life and death lightly. Boss! Shocking cheers broke out in Wanlong's nest, and everyone's eyes were full of fanaticism and worship. They were completely amazed by Long Chen in front of them. At this time, Long Chen's whole body was wrapped in purple divine brilliance. Unlike the previous dragon blood battle body, Long Chen didn't have a dragon armor on his body, and the purple divine radiance formed a purple gauze, which fluttered in the wind. You can faintly see purple dragon scales appearing and disappearing from time to time. Behind Long Chen, 13 purple dragons formed a pattern of dragons arching beads. 13 purple dragons, with their heads inside and their tails facing out, were surrounding a purple bead. That bead is like a purple sun. Its light is not scorching, but extremely soft. You can faintly see a purple tide rising inside. It seems to be a world. Under the blessing of the purple divine brilliance, Long Chen's aura looked so noble and holy, and his purple clothes and long hair fluttered in the air, making him look like a human emperor, and he was extremely respected. Oh my God, it's going to kill me! In the Protoss camp, Jiang Yue saw Long Chen in this state, and couldn't help but covered her cherry lips and said, "No wonder Feng Fei fell in love with this guy, and she once warned her to have a good relationship with Long Chen, but don't get too close." Now she finally understands why Feng Fei said this. A wife-protecting madman, with such terrifying strength, looks even more handsome and extraordinary under the blessing of the noble purple divine light. Who the hell can stand this? Long Chen's whole body was shrouded in purple divine brilliance, but his gaze was icy cold. He knew all about the bloody battle outside. When Tang Weiner and Aman were injured, he kept suppressing his anger. Now he can finally be released unscrupulously, and now is the moment of final reckoning. Seeing Long Chen's fierce eyes, the fat woman couldn't help taking a step back. At this moment, she could no longer maintain her previous calmness. Long Chen's murderous intent made her feel fear. Call, the Keel evil moon appeared in Long Chen's hands, and the purple divine brilliance flowed slowly into the blade. Buzz! The purple aura poured into the black blade, forming a strange purple-black luster. The fierce and bloodthirsty aura was rising, and countless dragon patterns all over the dragon bone Shiyue slowly lit up, as if a sleeping demon was being awakened. Call, suddenly Long Chen slashed out, but what everyone didn't expect was that Long Chen didn't slash at anyone, but at the void. Puff! The sky was torn apart by Long Chen, and the sky was separated. What shocked everyone was that there was a huge monster hidden behind the sky. As the sky cracked, people could only see the tip of the iceberg at first, and then gradually they could see the whole picture. And when everyone saw its whole picture, they were all shocked. This is a creature that is too big to imagine. The body of a monster is as small as an ant in front of it. This is... People looked at this figure in horror, and their bodies began to tremble unceasingly. Chapter 5708. In the splash of blood, some strong men exploded into blood mist. Originally, they were chasing Long Chen, but in an instant the hunter and the prey were swapped. Everything happened so fast that it was too fast for people to react. It seems that Long Chen's terrifying big move doesn't need to be brewed at all, and it comes at his fingertips, and there is no warning. The murderous intention is hidden in the invisible, and when he reacts, everything is over. Amidst the rising purple aura, blood mist filled the air. Just now, a group of people besieged Long Chen, but now only Brahma, Li Changjing, Minglong Tianfeng, and Long Zhe were left. The rest were all captured by Long Chen. Kill them one by one. Boss, it's terrifying. Guoran and the others looked excited. The power of this purple dragon is too strong. The little fox lay on by Shaole's shoulder. His purple eyes were full of stars. At this moment, it didn't seem to be inflated at all. At this time, Long Chen was surrounded by purple energy, and the dragon-arched beads behind him trembled. The dragon's power was surging, and Wan Dao surrendered. He was indescribably brave and domineering. You can keep it to your heart's content, as long as you don't regret it in another world. Long Chen snorted coldly. Long Chen was carrying the dragon bone Xieyu, and his left hand formed a seal. Suddenly, the divine map behind Long Chen trembled, and the bead in the group of dragon arch beads suddenly disappeared. Immediately after a suffocating coercion came, the void began to crack inexplicably, the earth began to collapse and annihilate non-stop, black silk threads hung down, and people seemed to see the faults in space. A strong threat of death enveloped the four of them in an instant. They didn't know what happened, but they knew that if they kept it, they were really going to die. Ancestral blood is burning, Jiuli God bless. Long Zhe was the first to roar, the dragon veins disappeared, the blood vessels burned, endless original Jiuli runes wrapped around his body, and the wings of the gods on his back stretched the sky. His aura instantly soared several times. This guy can actually summon primitive runes? When they saw those runes, Jiang Yue and Feng Fei couldn't help clicking their tongues. Although they had comprehended some of the original Jiuli runes, these runes would be engraved in their blood souls after they were comprehended, passively improving their spiritual power. All kinds of power speed up the cohesion of the dragon veins. But if they want to use them, they can't do it with their abilities because if they want to control the original runes, they must have the assistance of the power of the Emperor, and Long Zhe can actually summon the Jiuli runes. How can they not be surprised? Boom! On the other side, Brahma's divine flames rose all over his body, and a small statue in his hand was crushed by him, and a breath that suffocated the whole world merged with his body. The same is true for Minglong Tianfeng. Holding a black scale in his hand, the scale exploded, the black blood essence burned, the aura of the imperial way rose rapidly, and his whole aura changed. Among the four people, only Li Changjing didn't make any big moves, but his whole Bodis blood energy also began to rise, and the 9 springs in the gate of hell behind him flowed rapidly, and his breath was condensed but not emitted. At this moment, Long Chen's hand's seal changed, and he stopped drinking. Dragon fall, boom, suddenly, the sky above people's heads was pierced, and then a meteorite with a radius of tens of thousands of miles fell from the sky. That is, when people saw the meteorite, they were all shocked. On the meteorite, there were countless purple dragons entwined, dragging their long tails, galloping towards the four of them. The meteorite appeared, and the space where the four of them were located began to collapse in a large area, and they were completely locked. At that moment, even Li Changjing's expression changed, and he finally understood the horror of this move. Combined resist, Fan Tianda roared. The four of them shot at the same time, 4 rays of light shot out, and they attacked directly without waiting for the meteorite to fall. Boom! 4 attacks containing their lives' strength collided with the meteorite, but to their horror, the meteorite seemed to contain the power of the universe, and it was not affected by their power at all, and could not even slow down. The 4 of them slammed over. Boom! The 4 people were hit by the meteorite, and the meteorite kept pressing the 4 people and slammed into the ground. The ground, which was originally riddled with holes, could no longer withstand such an attack, and collapsed continuously, forming a whirlpool soon. The vortex is getting bigger and deeper, devouring everything here madly. Oops, the boss has penetrated the earth, and the Tianmai profound realm is about to collapse. Seeing this scene, Bai Xiaola let out a terrified cry. His three-flower pupils saw the collapse of the laws deep in the vortex, and the world entered the process of self-destruction. It's not possible. Long Chen was also stunned. He didn't expect this blow to be so powerful that it directly pierced through the Tianmai profound realm. Boom! The vortex on the ground is getting bigger and bigger. It is like a huge mouth, and it will swallow itself. In the void, all kinds of runes were scattered and shattered. The spiritual energy between the heaven and the earth was rapidly disappearing. The heaven and the earth were turning upside down, and the laws became disordered. This is the real annihilation of the world. Senior, what should I do? Long Chen screamed and could only ask the Chaos Dragon Emperor for help. At this time, the Chaos Dragon Emperor was still in shock. This magical power was not taught by him at all, but created by Long Chen himself. In order to prevent Long Chen in white from stealing his unique skills, Long Chen had a whim to fuse the Star Fall technique back then with the power of dragon blood. This trick, in Long Chen's mind, has been calculated thousands of times, and it is easy to succeed. The Dragon Ball in the vision will attract the power of the stars in the sky to form a meteorite from the sky. But Long Chen never expected that the power of this move would be so terrifying that it would blow up a whole world. At this time, Long Chen was too lazy to care about the life and death of those four guys, and now he didn't know what to do with his own life and death. Buzz! At this moment, light surged around countless people in the distance, and small whirlpools appeared behind them. The door of space has appeared, run away! Someone yelled in surprise, plunged into the door of space and disappeared, just when the Tianmai profound realm was about to collapse. Finally there was a reaction with the outside world. The door of space appeared, and after entering the door of space, you can return to the entrance. But where Long Chen is, the space is distorted and collapsed, the laws are already chaotic, and there is no space gate at all. Long Chen run! At this time, Long Tianrui in the outer area shouted, and with a wave of her jade hand, a chain shot out at Long Chen. However, her chain didn't fly far before it collapsed, because the law of the area where Long Chen was located collapsed, and no spells could be cast. Seeing this scene, Long Tianrui, Feng Fei, Jiang Yue and the others panicked. The door to the space behind them had already been opened. Seeing that the collapsed space was about to spread to their side, they couldn't leave if they didn't leave. Go with you, I have my own way. Long Chen shouted. Seeing that the world was about to collapse, Feng Fei and the others gritted their teeth and stepped into the door of space. At this moment, there was a loud noise, and a huge vortex swallowed the entire Tianmai Xianjing. The huge vortex began to reverse rapidly again, and with a sudden explosion, the huge Tianmai profound realm instantly disappeared into nothingness. Chapter 26 is here. Lao Mo has fulfilled his promise. Thank you for your support. Chapter 57:09 The Tianmai Xian realm was destroyed, everything turned into nothingness, and in the endless nothingness, the voice of the Chaos Dragon Emperor suddenly came. Don't you want to say something? After a long time, an old and deep voice came. Did you remind him to do it? Thinking too much, I finally found a person who can inherit the mantle. Although he is not a member of my dragon clan, he is still my disciple. How could I cause him to be contaminated with such a big karma? Chaos Dragon Emperor said. You dare to rob disciples from the Lord of 9 Stars. Are you still afraid of being contaminated by this karma? The voice asked back. After being imprisoned for so many years, I have long been indifferent to life and death, and I can bear no matter how big the karma is. The key is whether my supernatural power can be passed on is more important. Unfortunately, I was too arrogant when I was young, and I didn't have the patience to train disciples. Later, there were great changes, and it was too late. The era of doomsday came, and the so-called geniuses could only be regarded as mediocrity in the era of chaos. However, the appearance of Long Chen gave me hope, so I plan to pass on what I have learned all my life to him. When the Chaos Dragon Emperor mentioned Long Chen, there was obviously a touch of relief in his tone, but also a touch of pride. Hee, Don't forget, who is to blame for what we are like now? The voice sneered, and there was endless hatred in the sneer. The voice continued, the Lord of the 9 stars ascended to the summit, holding the heavens and the earth in his hands, arrogantly trying to reshape the order of the heavens and the earth. What will happen in the end? 9 heavens and 10 lands were destroyed because of him, and it was almost beyond redemption. The vitality of all races was severely injured, you and I were imprisoned, and our descendants struggled in suffering and pain. Isn't it thanks to their husband and wife? You still want to pass on your abilities to the human race, or to the descendants of the Lord of 9 stars, because you have been imprisoned for too long? Shuyang, is your brain rusted? Afterwards, that voice was filled with anger, and every word was full of endless resentment, especially when it mentioned the Lord of 9 stars. It even gnashed its teeth, which seemed to arouse endless hatred. Hearing the man's roar, Chaos Dragon Emperor fell silent. The voice seemed to feel that his tone was wrong, so he eased his tone and said, Brother Shuyang, I have always respected you very much, but I really can't understand what you're doing. Xian Ming, did you wake up recently? Chaos Dragon Emperor asked. I don't know why the Chaos Dragon Emperor suddenly changed the subject. The voice said, yes, I just woke up for about 1,000,000 years, and this formation made me very uncomfortable. And I, for so many years, have been trying to maintain a state of half asleep and half awake. Chaos Dragon Emperor said, then you will have to endure endless torture. Xian Ming was taken aback. Chaos Dragon Emperor said, because I am not willing to be imprisoned like this, let alone my ability, just follow me, I have been waiting for an opportunity to find an inheritor. At the same time, I have been thinking about a question for so many years, and I am looking for the answer to that catastrophe. Answer? Plans? Xian Ming was startled. I think the 9 heavens and 10 earths is a conspiracy. This conspiracy may continue until the era when we were not born. Chaos Dragon Emperor said, how is it possible? You and I are gods conceived by the heaven and earth, and we are the pioneers of this world. Before us, the heaven and the earth were in chaos. Xian Ming shouted, what about before chaos? Chaos Dragon Emperor asked. This? Xian Ming was suddenly speechless. In addition, in your memory, do you have any impressions of your youth? Chaos Dragon Emperor asked. It's such a long time ago, how can I remember? Xian Ming said. Have you ever thought about whether you don't remember, or have you been forgotten? Chaos Dragon Emperor asked again. Brother, what do you mean? Xian Ming was startled. Why did the Lord of 9 stars destroy the order of the 9 heavens and 10 earths? Why did he make everyone desert? Is he really crazy? Even if he is crazy, her wife is the only woman in the 9 days and 10 lands who used pills to prove the way and ascended to the Emperor of Heaven. She is a person of great wisdom. Could it be that she is also crazy? The Chaos Dragon Emperor asked. Xian Ming was silent for a while and said, but you can't deny that the emotions and personalities of the human race are unstable, and they almost have a tendency to self-destruct. When it snows, they will make a snowman. They are very happy during the process of making the snowman. After they are happy, they will blow up the snowman with their own hands. They will create beautiful things with their own hands, and they will also destroy them with their own hands. When they see the white wall, they like to pollute it with their handprints and footprints. The human race cannot tolerate the existence of perfect things by nature. When a perfect thing appears, people will discredit it, and if they cannot discredit it, they will try to destroy it. The most frightening thing is that the human race will not only destroy foreign objects, but also destroy itself. Survival is an instinct, but the human race will violate the instinct. Looking at the 9 heavens and 10 lands, all races and spirits, may I ask which race would commit suicide except the human race? Xian Ming said a lot in one breath. He has deep prejudices against the human race, but his words directly pointed to human nature, penetrating 3 points, making it impossible to refute. Facing Xian Ming's questioning, the Chaos Dragon Emperor said, there is a saying in the human race that is very good. The earth does not grow nameless grass, and the sky does not produce useless people. You mean, Does this world also need them? Xian Ming sneered and said authentically, from his tone, it can be heard that the human race is the root of the world's curse. If the human race can disappear from this world, the 9 heavens and 10 lands will become better. The current dilapidated situation is all caused by the human race. It's not necessary, but only they can promote the operation of this world. I know you don't think so. Let's put it this way, the human race is a combination of contradictions. They have assembled opposite personalities such as good and evil, wisdom and stupidity, noble and humble. They are the most unstable factors in this world. That's right, as long as there is no them, wouldn't this world be stable if there is a balance of yin and yang? Xian Ming interjected. But have you ever thought that this balance is like a pool of stagnant water, which will eventually make this world decay and perish? Only a dynamic balance can make this world work. Today there will be more yang, and tomorrow there will be more yin. Just like a seesaw, highs and lows are the essence of this world. If a seesaw stops moving, it means the world is dead. The Chaos Dragon Emperor explained. I don't understand what you said, but I still stick to my point of view. The human race is the creature I hate the most. I will never have anything to do with them in my life. Xinming said. Boom! At this moment, there was a muffled sound, followed by another muffled sound, several times in a row. Hearing that voice, Chaos Dragon Emperor said with a smile, I'm afraid this is out of your control. Long Chun broke through the heavenly vein profound realm, and other small worlds also lost balance. The Emperor's heaven's shackles were detonated, and a new era is about to begin. Chapter 57:10 Boom. In a wasteland in Emperor's heaven, endless monsters fled in fear. The tribe they were in suddenly collapsed, the tribe altar was directly reduced to dust, and all the leaders were killed. The power of destruction made this group of brainless monsters feel endless fear. Immediately after the earth collapsed, amidst the roar of thousands of roads, an ancient city broke through the ground. Looking at the ancient city, countless creatures poked their heads out of the city. When they saw the world in front of them, they were all stunned. Boom! A light curtain exploded, raising the endless mountains to the ground. A barren world overlapped with this world, and the two worlds merged. When the breaths of the two worlds merged, the earth exploded, coffins rushed out of the earth, exploded in the void, and tall figures walked out of the coffins. In the sky above the Emperor's sky, invisible forces collided back and forth, and countless transparent chains of order emerged from the 9 heavens, and they wanted to restrain that force. But that power was too strong. After several impacts, the endless chain of order broke, and as the chain of order broke, space distorted in countless corners of Emperor Heaven, and small worlds emerged one after another. More and more hidden worlds were forcibly summoned, and the chain of order above the 9 heavens was completely out of balance and began to collapse rapidly. Without the shackles of the chain of order, the vegetation in the Emperor's sky was growing rapidly. Countless practitioners were stunned when they saw the scene before them. At that moment, they felt the warmth of heaven, the love of the earth, they felt the most gentle touch from this world. That touching feeling made countless people tremble. The world has changed, the energy of chaos is recovering, and the laws of the world are recovering. Affected by it, the practitioners feel that their minds become clearer in an instant, and many unreasonable problems have a feeling of enlightenment. Boom! The Emperor's sky began to change, countless sleeping forces were forcibly awakened, and countless hidden worlds were forced to emerge. Daiwangtian was transforming. At the same time, other worlds such as Xianshan and Mingaotian were also affected by Daiwangtian, and the chain of order began to collapse. The chain of order seemed to be the shackles that bound the 9 heavens. Now that the Emperor Heaven had broken free from the shackles, the other heavens followed suit. Outside the Tianyuan world, the huge abyss at the entrance of the Tianmai profound realm used to be like a mouth that devoured the world, but now an endless torrent flew out of it, and countless figures were sprayed out. However, when they went in, they were orderly, but when they came out, they were extremely embarrassed, and they flew out one by one. Under the rapid rotation, even the heavenly saints couldn't bear it, and some people just spun vomited. It's fine if it's normal. The key is that some people vomit not only above but also below because they are too frightened. Under the rapid rotation, like fireworks, many people were sprayed all over their faces, and their embarrassed appearance had long lost the demeanor of a master. However, when this group of people flew out, their faces were pale, and their eyes were full of fear. When they felt the aura of the Emperor's sky, they were so excited that they were about to cry. Before, they felt that they would definitely die, but now they have picked it up. A life. After flying out, they found that the place they came in was not the place they came in at all. When they saw that the people in front of them were not from their own clan, and some people even fell directly into the hostile forces, a bloody battle broke out immediately. For a moment, the entrance to the Tianmai profound realm was completely in chaos. Bastard, where are our disciples? Why did you come out of here? Tell me, what did you do to them? The strong man outside wanted to welcome his disciples out, but all the faces he didn't know came out, and he suddenly became manic, wanting to take down the other party and search for his soul. And the strong man who flew out from the inside was still in shock at this time, rushing desperately, sending distress signals to the clan in various ways. Some forces received the distress signal, but were shocked to find that the signal came from multiple directions, very scattered, and not in one area at all. For a moment, roars and screams resounded throughout the world. No one expected that this year's Tianmai profound realm would end in such a way. During the tense fight, they didn't know what happened, and they didn't notice the changes in the laws of heaven and earth. Boom! Suddenly the void trembled, and an ancient bronze tripod pierced through the void, followed by a huge 10,000 dragon nest, which rushed out following the footsteps of the ancient tripod. After the ancient bronze tripod shattered into the void, it disappeared in an instant, and the majestic 10,000 dragons nest came galloping with supreme brilliance. We are alive again. When rushing out of the shattered heavenly vein profound realm, Guoran let out an arrogant laugh. When the Tianmai profound realm collapsed, the destructive force produced was too frightening. It was a force that no one could resist. If the Qinghuan cauldron hadn't brought them flying out, they would have been crushed into fine powder together with the Wanlong nest. It can be said that it is too dangerous, because at the core of the collapse, the power of Di Huangtian cannot be transmitted to their sides, and life and death are on the line. Now that they return to Emperor Heaven, they feel that the air here is sweeter than before, and the power of heaven is more friendly, like a wandering child who has finally returned to his mother's arms. The touching feeling makes people feel that it is good to be alive. Wow, what a mess! However, when they saw the surrounding situation clearly, everyone was startled. What is the situation? This place is also a chaotic battlefield. All clans are in chaos. I didn't expect you to return in such a way, which made me worry about you in vain. Just at this moment, a gentle voice came. Upon hearing that voice, Tang Weiner and all the disciples of Fengshan High Pavilion couldn't help but get excited. Master, with a tender cry, Tang Weiner flew out of the Wanlong's nest and flew straight to a figure in the void. Feng Xinyue stood in the void, her face was peerless, her temperament was graceful, and her beautiful eyes were looking at everyone with tenderness. When she saw everyone appear, she breathed a sigh of relief. She didn't expect that the Tianmai profound realm would collapse in an instant, and everything happened so fast. Even if she had the power to penetrate the heavens and penetrate the earth, it would be too late to rescue her. Now that everyone had returned safely, when Tang Weiner threw herself into Feng Xinyu's arms, Feng Xinyu's eyes became moist. Although she didn't know what happened inside, she knew that Tang Weiner must have been terrified. Damn Dragon Blood Legion, dare to kill my son, today I will make you pay with blood. Suddenly there was a sky-shattering roar, with bloody killing intent in the roar, followed by a soaring monster aura, accompanied by endless monster clan powerhouses, rushing in like a vast ocean. Chapter 57:12 Give Back My Son's Life. That day, the old man of the Demon Golden Monkey clan roared. His son was killed and he was already furious. His target was the purple-eyed nine-tailed demon fox. However, Ho Tianwu was killed, and Long Chen hadn't appeared yet. He was dazzled by anger, and he didn't realize the horror of Long Chen. Seeing Long Chen coming, he punched and slammed at Long Chen. "It's still not enough, but I can send you there to reunite your father and son." Long Chen sneered. "You fart?" Ho Tianhui's father roared furiously. The fist was covered with golden light, and all the power of God was concentrated on the fist for an instant. Seeing Ho Tianhui's father punching him, he also punched him away. Boom! The golden fist collided with the purple fist, and the two-color divine light infiltrated the sky. One was the emperor who was sealed in the era of chaos, and the other was the top arrogance of modern times. The collision of flesh and blood without any fancy movements. It is obvious that both Long Chen and Ho Tianhui's father have great confidence in their physical bodies. In the entanglement of the purple and golden divine brilliance, countless strong men of the Sky Demon and Golden Monkey clan were blown away by the air waves. Snapped, however, before everyone could see clearly what was going on in the air waves, Ho Tianhui's father flew upside down with a bang, and there was a large purple handprint on his face. Against the golden backdrop, this handprint was so conspicuous. Sky Demon and Golden Monkey clan, all go to hell for me. Just when people were still shocked by how the handprints on Ho Tianhui's father's face came from, there was a mournful roar, and a sharp claw tore through the sky, falling directly into the clan of the Sky Demon Golden Monkey. Puff puff. This blow was extremely terrifying, but it was silent. This was by Xiaole's ultimate move after combining with Xiaojiu. It used the power of space to cover up the terrifying power. When it was time to strike, this blow became a life-threatening talisman. Hundreds of them, the strong man of the Sky Demon Golden Monkey clan was directly smashed by a claw, and his flesh and blood flew all over the place. Seeing the endless blood, the purple-eyed nine-tailed demon fox became even crazier, and its huge body wreaked havoc. At this time, the powerhouses of the Sky Demon Golden Monkey clan manifested their bodies one after another, turning into giants and killing Xiaojiu. However, at this moment, Xiaojiu's eyes were already bloodshot, her sharp claws were like knives, and she was biting wildly even without using supernatural powers, because the feeling of touching flesh and blood during the biting would make it feel more happy. Boom! Ho Tianhui's father, who was slapped by Long Chen, let out a roar that shook the sky, and suddenly a ray of light appeared behind his head. As soon as that divine brilliance appeared, the whole world sank suddenly, and his aura unexpectedly soared more than 10 times in an instant. God's crown. When Long Chen saw the divine splendor behind his head, his heart trembled slightly, and he finally saw the divine crown that only the strong in the era of chaos could condense. Because now is the age of the Dharma. In this era the human emperor or the god emperor cannot condense the imperial crown. However, Long Chen's generation has caught up with the flow of luck. As long as he condenses his natal dragon veins, he can condense the royal crown. And the imperial crown also has grades. The more natal dragon veins, the more perfect the performance when crossing the catastrophe, and the higher the imperial crown's grade. The grades of imperial crowns can be distinguished by color, which are red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. There are 7 grades, with red being the lowest and purple being the highest. There is a huge difference in strength between the same level with the crown of the emperor and without the crown of the emperor, like an insurmountable gap. Ho Tianhui's father was a 9th-rank god emperor, but if it was an ordinary god emperor, he would not be able to catch Long Chen's previous punch, and he would be seriously injured if he did not die. But he is a strong man in the era of chaos. His body is nourished by the energy of chaos, and he is extremely tyrannical, which is not comparable to the strong men of this era. Therefore, even though Long Chen's aura was strong, he thought he could easily blow Long Chen up with one punch, but he didn't take advantage of the blow, and was slapped by Long Chen. Under the rage, he no longer wanted to keep it, and the divine radiance emerged in the back of his head. Under the blessing of the divine radiance, his head seemed to be covered with an emperor's crown, which is also the origin of the title of imperial crown. When the royal crown appeared, Ho Tianhui's father's aura crazily increased by more than 10 times, and the power of heaven and earth kept gathering towards him, and his aura continued to rise. The powerful aura shook the surrounding space to buzz. Puff puff. And just when Ho Tianhua's father summoned the divine crown, the bloody battle had already begun, and the Dragon Blood Legion had already fought with the powerhouses of the monster clan. However, what the Yaozu didn't expect was that these high-ranking God Emperor powerhouses were simply leaks in front of the Dragon Blood Legion. The confrontation between old and new powerhouses was an unequal massacre at all. Even the weakest powerhouses of the North and South Alliance fought bravely at this time. It's not that the God Emperors of this generation didn't work hard enough, but that they were eliminated by the times, and the blessing of luck in the Tianmai profound realm created a cliff-like gap. Seeing the powerhouses of the Sky Demon Golden Monkey clan being killed, Ho Tianhua's father was in a panic. In order to avenge his son, he ordered the teleportation array to be activated and summoned all the powerhouses above the God Emperor level of the Sky Demon Alliance. Revenge for his son is one aspect, but at the same time, it is also to show the supremacy of the Yaozu and establish prestige to all races. Now that these God Emperors have been massacred, and the major forces have suffered heavy losses, who will be in command after the Heavenly Demon and Golden Monkey? Die. Ho Tianhua's father let out a roar, and a long golden stick appeared in his hand, and the royal crown's divine light flowed, and he smashed it down at Long Chen. Cut. Wear a green hat. Is it because you are afraid that others will not know that your wife is good-looking? Long Chen sneered, and waved his big hand. Kiel Xia was in his hand. As soon as Long Chen said this, Feng Xinyue, who was watching the battle from a distance, couldn't help but smile. This Long Chen's mouth was too bad. Then Ho Tianhua's father's imperial crown is the 4th level in the rainbow level, green among red, orange, yellow, and green. This color crowns the power of life and strengthens the power of the physical body. In fact, Ho Tianhua's father's imperial crown is purple, which is the topmost existence, but during the Long Seal, the power of his crown has degraded and finally degenerated to green. When Ho Tianhua's father heard Long Chen's words, his face turned green with anger. His face was hideous like a ghost, the endless runes on the golden stick lit up, and with the blessing of his whole body, he wished he could smash Long Chen into a pulp with one stick. In the purple divine radiance, 13 dragon veins emerged, and the picture of the group of dragons arching beads reappeared. The moment it appeared, the power of Long Chen's dragon blood burned instantly, and the violent power erupted like a volcano. Boom! On the Kiel evil moon, the dragon pattern lights up, and it slashes on the golden stick, and the two destructive forces collide together. Chapter 57:13 Boom. In the rumbling divine sound, Long Chen and Ho Tianhua's father flew upside down at the same time, leaving a purple and golden ripple in the void. The God Emperor in the era of chaos is nothing more than that. Long Chen was so shocked by Ho Tianhua's father that his blood surged and his arms went numb. However, there seemed to be a huge gap between this and the Chaos God Emperor he had imagined. Boy looking for death, being ridiculed by Long Chen, Ho Tianhua's father was furious, and being ridiculed by a heavenly saint kid was a great shame for him. Boom! The golden blood energy rose, Ho Tianhua's father's divine crown trembled continuously, and the flames could be faintly seen rising. I've lost endless strength over the long years. Although I'm less than 1% of what I was at my peak, I'm not something a little trash like you can take lightly. Ho Tianhua's father gritted his teeth, his face grim. His aura was rising rapidly, and the coercion of the emperor was getting stronger and stronger. At the same time, the fierce killing intent locked Long Chen firmly. Ho Tianhua's father was completely furious. Being despised by a human kid made him even more angry than his son's death. Boom! The void under Ho Tianhua's father's feet shattered, and while the golden divine flame was burning, he rushed towards Long Chen like a golden lightning bolt. At this time, his aura increased several times again. Die to me! As Ho Tianhua's father roared, golden flames danced all over his body, and the golden stick glowed with golden light, attacking Long Chen madly. You are an old and ugly bastard. If you don't want to die, why should I die? Long Chen sneered, and the Kiel moon flew rapidly. Boom boom boom. The Kiel evil moon collided with the golden long staff crazily. Both of them fought fast and attacked with great speed. In the blink of an eye, they fought dozens of moves. Boom! Suddenly, Long Chen and Ho Tianhui's father stopped shouting at the same time, and there was a loud bang. With the two god soldiers fighting hard, Long Chen and Ho Tianhui's father retreated at the same time. The moment Long Chen retreated, a bone fork descended from the sky, carrying supreme power, and killed Long Chen. It was an old woman from the sea whale family who made the move. Boss Guo Ran yelled. "Don't worry about me, it'll kill you." Long Chen said coldly. Seeing the bone fork stabbing, Long Chen formed a seal with his left hand and slapped it suddenly. A transparent shield appeared, and a huge character appeared on the shield. Around it, there were countless runes circulating, chaotic. The air is entangled, and when the shield is released, the world trembles. Boom! The bone fork slashed fiercely on the rune shield, and to the amazement of the old woman of the sea whale family, when the shield trembled, her destructive power disappeared without a trace like a mud cow entering the sea. And when Long Chen was resisting the old woman of the sea whale family, Ho Tianhui's father, the strongest man in the chaotic era, had a big face, shot from Long Chen's back, and took Long Chen's vest directly with a stick. "You really have a face. If that's the case, then don't blame me." Long Chen sneered, the keel evil moon buzzed, and the 13 dragon shadows were entwined, and there was a majestic and fierce aura rising. Long Chen impressively integrated his own power and the old woman's power into this knife. The waving moon shocks the sky, Long Chen slashed out, the shadow of the knife pierced the sky, the galaxy poured out, and all Taos were torn apart. When they saw this knife, Guo Ran and others immediately thought of the shocking knife of Long Chen in white. At this time, Long Chen's knife was very similar to that knife in breadth. When this knife was cut out, time and space seemed to be distorted. Boom! With a loud bang, Ho Tianhui's father spat out a mouthful of blood and flew upside down with his stick. Boom! His figure flew all the way close to the ground, piercing through countless mountains, and disappeared from people's sight. Dai, the old woman of the sea whale family, saw that Long Chen had borrowed her power and took the opportunity to seriously injure Ho Tianhui's father. She couldn't help being shocked and angry. Suddenly, she opened her mouth wide, and a black sharp sword shot at Long Chen's brow. Laugh. The sharp sword pierced through the air, and even the avenue runes were cut off. A big hole was stabbed in the void where Long Chen was. However, this blow was missed, and Long Chen avoided the fatal blow by turning sideways when the sharp blade was approaching him. Long Chen's heart trembled. This blow was astonishingly powerful, and thanks to his rich experience, he instinctively avoided this blow, and it was impossible for someone else to dodge it at such a short distance. Long Chen raised his head to avoid the blow, kicked the old woman's face, and with a bang, the old woman was kicked over by Long Chen. Dragon dust. At this moment, a voice of gnashing of teeth suddenly came, and Long Chen was startled when he heard this voice. A spear pierced through 9 heavens, and shot at Long Chen with killing intent that terrified Wan Dao. Boom! Long Chen was caught off guard and was blown away by the spear. Long Chen looked into the void. "Wow, your life is pretty big, isn't this dead?" Above the void, the blood-covered dragon was in the wild. At this time, the murderous aura was soaring, and the divine flames were circulating all over his body. 13 dragon veins were burning wildly. When he looked at Long Chen, his face was distorted to the point of deformation. "I didn't die, it means that your death time has arrived." Long Zhe was roaring, his wings trembling on his back, burning his blood. He rushed towards Long Chen as if he was crazy. It turned out that after Long Chen's big blow was released, Long Zhe and others were directly pressed into the ground, and the violent power almost crushed him directly. However, at the moment when he was about to explode, the Tianmai Xian realm was the first to be unable to bear it, and the law collapsed, and at that moment, Long Yun's power was dispersed by the collapsed law. But in the collapse of the law, they will eventually perish together with the Tianmai Xianjing, but at the critical moment, Long Zhe burned the blood of his life, and finally broke out of the shackles of the law, and escaped from the gate of space. After a narrow escape, he returned to the Emperor's heaven, and instantly sensed Long Chen's aura, and he, who was full of hatred, immediately killed him. Getting back a life but not cherishing it, insisting on coming to die, why bother? That being the case, let me see if you will be as lucky as last time. Long Chen raised the keel bone in Xie Yu's hands, and the 13 giant dragons behind him shot up purple flames. At that moment, Long Chen no longer kept it, and finally showed his state in the Tianmai Xian realm. Boom! The purple flames shot straight into the sky, piercing through the sky, and Long Chen's aura was like a violent volcanic eruption. Boom! Long Zhe, who was rushing towards Long Chen, was sent flying by Long Chen with a single knife. Blood spurted wildly. Long Zhe was startled and angry. He couldn't believe that Long Chen could still maintain his peak state. Die. However, at this moment, 3 figures came from 3 directions at the same time. They were Minglong Tianfeng, Fan Tianda, and Li Changying. None of them died, and they all escaped at the last moment. These 3 people seemed to have made an appointment, and they attacked Long Chen from 3 directions respectively. At this time, Long Chen had just repelled Long Zhe, giving them a chance to lock. At that moment, Long Zhe suddenly understood that when he made a move, these 3 guys had been observing secretly, using him as bait, leading Long Chen to show his flaws. At that moment, he was shocked and angry, which was the worst thing for him: humiliation. Long Chen was suddenly locked by 3 people at the same time, but a sneer appeared on his face, and he raised his left hand high. Huolinger, Lei Linger, don't keep it for me, use all your strength to me. On the thumb and middle finger of Long Chen's left hand, 2 groups of flames emerged, and the aura of destruction skyrocketed. At that moment, the color of the world changed. Chapter 57:14. The 2 flames rose rapidly, the golden crow and the jade rabbit emerged, the temperature between the heaven and the earth rose rapidly, and the will to destroy burst out. At the same time, in the chaotic space of Long Chen, the flames on the ancient hibiscus tree and the wood of the sun, which were originally burning, disappeared in an instant. And the 2 flames at Long Chen's fingertips, the divine light sword, swallowed the sky, and swallowed the figures of the 3 together. Always return. As Long Chen stopped drinking, there was a bang, and after the fire of the sun and the sun merged, a wave of fire broke out. Boom, boom, boom. The 3 figures were knocked into the air, each of them spurted blood, and they were in a state of embarrassment. Long Chen had used this move in the Tianmai Profound Realm, and the 3 of Minglong Tianfeng didn't care about it at first. Although Long Chen's blow was astonishingly powerful and had a huge range, it did not pose a threat to them. So when Long Chen's opening gesture appeared, they didn't care, but when the power of the sun and the sun erupted, they realized that the power of Long Chen's blow was 100 times that of the Tianmai Profound Realm. It turned out that in the Tianmai Profound Realm, Long Chen only used part of the power of the golden crow and jade rabbit, because his goal was to kill those miscellaneous fish, and at the same time, he also had to try. What kind of power will it produce? To put it bluntly, it was just a trial, but this time, Long Chen had completely mastered the 2 powers, and directly used the golden crow and jade rabbit to extract the power of the Fusang ancient tree and the Taiyin tree. Now that the golden crows have come out of nirvana, according to Huolinger, the golden crows at this moment are already equivalent to the strong human emperor realm of the human race. Then, not in a concept at all. This is the first time Long Chen has used the original power of Fusang ancient wood and Taiyin wood. The violent power erupted, and the 3 peerless arrogances couldn't resist it. Each of them was shaken to the point of being cracked and almost exploded directly. Most importantly, the fire of the sun and the sun invaded their blood vessels and even their souls, scorching them from the inside, and screaming pitifully one by one. The 3 strong men were almost wiped out with a snap of the fingers, and Long Chen's palm was also bloody and bloody. Even with Long Chen's current strength, he couldn't control such a terrifying blow and was injured. But this injury is nothing to Long Chen. After the blow, before the flames scattered all over the sky, Long Chen flickered, and he had already bullied Brahma Tianda, and the dragon bone Shiyues slashed down. Boom! The flames in Fan Tianda body rose, and he was in extreme pain. He tried his best to resist the blow, but there was a loud explosion. Fan Tianda was cut into the ground by Long Chen like a meteor, and his breath disappeared instantly. Seeing that Fan Tianda suffered a great loss, Minglong Tianfeng and Li Changjing retreated rapidly, and the power of the flames was still eroding their flesh and soul. In this state, fighting Long Chen is courting death. Boom! But at this moment, the Divine Emperor's aura radiated, and Ho Tianhui's father came to kill him again. At this moment he had disheveled hair and red eyes, as if he was crazy. Damn human kid, dare to look down on this old man? Ho Tianhui's father suffered losses in Long Chen's hands one after another. He was completely crazy. Even in the era of chaos, he was a peerless emperor. Now he was defeated by a kid in the age of doom. He couldn't accept this fact. Boom! The golden light behind Ho Tianhui's father surged, and endless golden runes exploded. His skin was rapidly withering, and his vitality was rapidly declining. At the same time, his aura was soaring wildly. Apparently Ho Tianhui's father was completely insane. He burned his blood, soul, and life force to forcibly increase his own strength. Buzz! His aura not only improved, but also underwent a qualitative change. In the green crown of the gods, black threads appeared, and with the appearance of the blue threads, the fluctuations of the sky and the earth became more intense. Looking down on you? If you were any shorter, I wouldn't be able to see you anymore. If you don't accept it, come to fight. Facing the God Emperor of the Chaos era, who was almost insane, Long Chen murderously said this sentence. The Sky Demon and Golden Monkeys are originally short in stature, but they have strong self-esteem, and they are most taboo about others mentioning their weakness. Although they can also transform into thousands of miles, they basically only do so when they rely on external forces. Without the help of external force, the original body is the strongest, otherwise the huge body will only become a burden on their bodies. Long Chen's words pierced into the depths of Ho Tianhui's father's heart like a poisonous arrow. He let out a terrifying roar, his voice was already hoarse, and he was completely mad with anger. The Sky Demon burns the soul, the Golden Monkey kills the sky, the divine radiance on the golden stick in Ho Tianhui's father's hand rose rapidly, while his own body shriveled rapidly, his hair fell off, and turned into flying ash in the air. Ho Tianhui's father actually blessed all the power of life in this blow. Either you die or I die. Hey, I was joking just now, how about we shake hands and make peace? Long Chen suddenly smiled. Go to hell. Facing the laughing Long Chen, Ho Tianhui's father almost went mad with anger and almost lost his breath. Seeing that Ho Tianhui's father refused to shake hands and make peace, Long Chen took a deep breath, opened his left hand, and the U character amulet appeared. But this time, different from the past, the moment the talisman appeared, 3,000 purple divine lights appeared in the vision behind Long Chen, which was the 3,000 original talismans that Long Chen rubbed from the Jiuli God tablet. At that moment, Long Chen's expression became serious. He had studied this move for a long time, but he never used it because he was afraid of being peeped by Long Chen in white. The ones used before were all half-finished products, but in the face of Ho Tianhui's father's desperate attack, he could only use the complete state of this move. The aegis with the word "you" appeared, and the 3,000 talismans took it as the core, like plum blossoms blooming, forming a strange divine map. The moment the divine map was formed, mountains, rivers rotated, and the sun, moon, and stars emerged. This trick the complete body. Long Chen called out its name, God Royal, hum. The moment Long Chen called out its name, the shield seemed to be endowed with life, and the breath of the 3,000 talismans merged with the heaven and the earth in an instant. Boom! Under the tense gaze of countless people, the golden long stick smashed hard on the shield that was only a few feet in size. To the astonishment of everyone, this blow, which contained the strength of Ho Tianhui's father's life, did not blow up the shield, and the 3,000 runes on the shield slowly lit up, unexpectedly so silently, absorbed the power of this blow. Buzz! And the dragon bone Shiwa itself on Long Chen's shoulder, with dragon patterns lit up, suddenly broke away from Long Chen's shoulder, and slashed behind him. Chapter 57:15 The shadow of the knife was shocking, and it fell towards a void. At that position, a figure held a bone fork, piercing through the sky, and stabbing straight at Long Chen's back. This attack came from Long Chen's blind spot. It stands to reason that Long Chen couldn't take this into account when he tried his best to deal with Ho Tianhui's father's attack. However, Long Chen seemed to have known for a long time that the old woman of the sea whale family would sneak attack him, and Dragon Bone Xiaoyu absorbed all the power absorbed by the shield of the gods into the knife. Boom! With a shocking explosion, the bone fork shattered, and the old woman was chopped into 2 pieces by Long Chen. The old woman of the sea whale family never thought of how she failed until she died. Puff! The old woman of the sea whale family was killed, and the main body appeared. Long Chen waved his hand, and before its corpse was fully enlarged, it was directly collected into the chaotic space. Today, on the black soil of the chaotic space, the dead sea whales have not been digested, and the dead bodies overlap like mountains. How so? Ho Tianhui's father, his whole body was shriveled at this moment, and his aura was like a candle in the wind, which would go out at any moment. He looked at the shield in front of him in disbelief. This blow that gathered all his live's strength could not shake the shield. Shield. Old Deng, you didn't die unjustly, this is one of my strongest supernatural powers right now. Okay, it's almost time, don't make your son wait too long. By the way, when you get there, say hello to Ho Tianwu for me. Long Chen spoke, pointing out with a finger. Puff! A bolt of thunder shot out, piercing Ho Tianhui's father's forehead. He was already exhausted and had no strength to dodge, and was instantly killed by a single blow. At that moment, the audience was shocked. Is this Long Chen a monster? Besieged by 13 dragon-level powerhouses, he can still kill the older generation of God Emperor powerhouses. The most frightening thing is that he behaved so easily. Feng Xinyue stood above the void, her beautiful eyes twinkling. She has been paying attention to the movement of the entire battlefield. The Dragon Blood Legion is like a tiger entering a herd of sheep. It is completely one-sided massacre. The disciple fought in a roundabout way, and she seldom made a move herself, leaving all the opportunities to others. Feng Xinyu's face showed a look of relief. Tang Weiner has grown a lot this time. She is no longer competitive, she knows how to take care of the overall situation, and gradually has the demeanor of a leader. There is no safety issue here, and most of Feng Xinyu's thoughts are on Long Chen. Seeing that Long Chen is facing the siege of many strong men, his strength and tactics are perfect. Even Feng Xinyue has to lament the demeanor of a master who is in control of everything. Some people are born commanders. This kind of control cannot be achieved with hard work at all. While talking and laughing, he calculated and killed 2 God King powerhouses in the era of chaos. Outsiders may think this is a disgraceful method, but in Feng Xinyu's view, this is the real wisdom. Your arrogance ends here. Suddenly Brahma came out, gritted his teeth, his whole body was burning with divine radiance, and endless runes gathered between his brows, and a faintly discernible word, Ven, appeared. When the Sanskrit word appeared, Brahma's aura changed, the sacred aura ignited, the void roared and exploded, the void behind him cracked, and a figure slowly emerged. When that figure appeared, the suffocating pressure instantly locked on Long Chen. Call, Kiel Shiyue carried it on his shoulders, and Long Chen curled his lips and said, "Are you finally going to move your father out? Before, I was wondering why you didn't call your father. Could it be that your son is wild?" That figure is exactly the figure of Brahma, but it is not a statue, but more like a Dharma body, which is constantly changing between virtual and real, and endless divine power is injected into Brahma's body from the Dharma body. Dare to blaspheme Brahma God, you Long Chen deserves to die 10,000 times, I let you be arrogant until now, you should be content and grateful. I'm going to show my real strength. Next, you will understand what the real gap is. Fan Tienda said coldly, at this time his voice also changed. Every word and every sound carries supreme divine power, like the decree of the gods, and all Taos respect together. This is the power of Brahma. Even a trace of the power of the Dharma body is enough to suppress the universe. Come on, can you die if you don't brag? From the past to the present, when will I, Long Chen, stop being arrogant? If you can't beat it, just summon the power of Brahma. If you summon it, just summon it. Can you stop making those boring excuses? If you have the ability, you don't need to use other people's power. Since you have moved, you are not qualified to brag, understand? Long Chen said disdainfully. Long Chen already knew that Brahma had this trick, and he had been waiting for it. He was the son of Brahma, and he used Lao Tzu's power, so Long Chen didn't despise him. But before using Lao Tzu's power, he had to pretend to be aggressive, as if he had been playing with Long Chen, which made people feel a little contemptuous. My mouth is full of obscenities. I am too lazy to talk nonsense with you. I, Brahma, will take your life. Boom, Fan Tianda figure flickered, and amidst the roar of thousands of roads, he stepped forward with one step, phantoms, and rushed straight to Long Chen. Can you die if you don't brag? Long Chen was also aroused into anger. The dragon's veins burned, the dragon's blood boiled, and the purple divine splendor bloomed like the sun, cutting it down with a single blow. Boom, the swords cut each other, the power of faith and the purple divine brilliance collided like two worlds, eroding each other crazily, and the strength of the two rose rapidly, as if it would never end. However, even if Brahma used the power of Brahma's Dharma body, he could no longer suppress Long Chen, and a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. My power is 100, your power is only 30, the power of Brahma's Dharmakaya is 1000, and the power of Dharmakaya is 10 times mine, but so what? Don't you know how much Brahma power your small body can carry? Do you think you can suppress me by summoning the Brahma body? Is your head full of shit? Long Chen shouted angrily. Boom! The Keel Shiyue pushed violently, and Brahma was blown away amidst the explosion. People were astonished. In this state, Brahma was still suppressed by Long Chen? Brahma Lingfeng / Fan Tianda roared, holding the sword in both hands. The person was still retreating, and the sword fell, and the sky was cut open by him. Dragon's blood returns to the blade. In the face of Fan Tianda berserk blow, 13 dragon shadows flew out from Long Chen's arm, entwining the Keel Evil Moon, and purple ripples appeared on the blade of the Keel Evil Moon. Boom! The two magic weapons collided again, and the two flew backwards with a muffled grunt at the same time. Neither of them took advantage of this blow. But that terrifying coercion caused the laws of the entire world to collapse, and a cotton-like fall appeared in the void, which was the product of the collapse of the Avenue Rune before it could repair itself. Countless people have never seen this kind of vision in their entire lives. Such an astonishing destructive power makes one's scalp tingle. At this time, the strong men of all races, seeing the scene, had no intention of competing with the Dragon Blood Legion, and fled the battlefield one after another. I do not believe. Fan Tianda roared. He didn't believe that he had summoned Brahma Dharma body, but he still couldn't suppress Long Chen, and the long sword flew wildly and slashed. Boom, boom, boom. The swords slashed wildly, and death ripples erupted in the void, rushing against the sky and the earth frantically. The two fought 36 moves in one breath, and the two retreated again. Long Chen was slightly panting, showing a trace of exhaustion. And Brahma's mouth was bleeding, he was panting like a cow, and he was sweating like rain. Obviously, his consumption was greater than that of Long Chen. Boom! Suddenly the space changed, and a figure quietly emerged, and a big hand that covered the sky as black as ink grabbed Long Chen. Chapter 57:16. When that big hand appeared, the power of the Emperor's way eroded the whole world, and the laws of all ways must succumb to it. You also used your father's power? Why don't you let your father possess you? Facing the big hand that covered the sky, Long Chen sneered, knowing that it was Minglong Tianfeng who made the move. This hit contained the power of the Emperor of the Underworld, but it did not have the will of the Emperor of the Underworld. The dragon bone in Long Chen's hands glows with the evil moon, and the power of dragon blood burns. With the blessing of the 13 heavenly veins and dragon energy, Long Chen's dragon blood power seems to be endless. He is not afraid of any enemy, even in the face of help external force Brahma and Hell Dragon Heavenly Peak. Boom! However, before Long Chen could make a move, a ray of divine light shot from outside the sky, hit the big hand, and with a bang, the black hand that covered the sky was actually shattered by the divine light. When he saw the divine light, Long Chen couldn't help being surprised and delighted, but at this moment, a familiar voice came. In front of Wuliang Mountain, there is Wuliang Palace, and outside Wuliang Gate, there are boundless pine trees. Tianjiu's pursuit of dreams has no way out, and when he encounters Emon Yen, it will become empty. Saw Bao's voice resounded through the heaven and earth, followed by a roar and explosion, and an ancient coffin broke through the air. On the coffin, a person stood upright, with a black cloak covering his whole body, and he held a colorful longbow in his hand. When countless pairs of eyes in the audience were focused on him, he waved his big hand and lifted off his cloak in a very chic and agile posture, revealing Emon Yen's handsome face, but with endless flirtatious and mixed baby fat face. Don't panic, Long Chen. I, Emon Yen, are here to help you. Let me show you how strong the son of the underworld emperor is. Emon Yen yelled loudly. The posture descended on the battlefield. Your sister, which eye of yours saw me panic? Didn't you see that there was such a terrifying existence behind me blocking the formation for me? Did I panic? Long Chen was speechless for a while. Where are you idiots? Come here and die. Minglong Tianfeng shouted angrily. Minglong Tianfeng's attack was pierced by Emon Yen, and he was shocked and angry. Seeing that Emon Yen was awesome as soon as he appeared on the stage, reciting poems and putting on airs, Minglong Tianfeng suddenly became furious. He suddenly felt that the guy named Emon Yen is even more annoying than Long Chen. At this time, Minglong Tianfeng's whole body was covered in black smoke, and a black spar was inlaid between his brows. The surging power of the emperor was emitted from the black spar. It's impossible to say that the universe is silent. One person and one bow hold the sky, facing the wind and jade trees on the free road. 9 days and 10 places are up to me. After the coffin flew into the edge of the battlefield, the speed slowed down, as if to give himself a time to chant poems. Emon Yen raised his face, squinted at the sky, and looked at the world through his nostrils. His appearance was as flamboyant as possible. Long Chen's scalp became numb and his skin got goosebumps when he heard it. Emon Yen, this guy, if he doesn't have the conditions to pretend, he will forcefully create the conditions to pretend. If he has the conditions to pretend, he will try his best to pretend more gorgeous. The following doggerel has no poetic artistic conception, it is purely a jingle, but with his arrogant tone, sassy expression, and that pretended arrogance, it is written all over his face. How lonely invincibility is. I can't take it anymore, die to me. Minglong Tianfeng was so angry that his teeth were about to be gritted. I have seen someone who pretends to be aggressive, but I have never seen someone who can pretend to be so aggressive. Boom! At this time, Minglong Tianfeng became Minglongshan crazy, and his long hair stood on end in anger. He stepped out with one step, and the 13 dragon veins ignited the fire of the underworld, like a fierce god killed from hell. Agitated, piercing Emon Yen. Hades' dragon peak has activated the Hades stone, which, like Brahma, can use the power of Hades. At this time, he is extremely powerful. It's time to let the world feel the power from the boundless line. Seeing the killing of the dark dragon Tianfeng, Emon Yen calmly formed a seal with one hand, and suddenly the void behind Emon Yen burst open, and 13 halos emerged. In each halo, a palace appeared, the ancient palace emerged, and the sacred and majestic power radiated. Why is his dragon vein like this? In the palace, people could feel the aura of the dragon vein of destiny, but they couldn't see the shadow of the dragon vein, and they couldn't help being shocked. Boom! With a loud bang, Emon Yen waved his longbow and forcibly shook the blow of Minglong Tianfeng, but the scene of heaven and earth shattering did not appear in people's imagination. Although the sound was loud, the destructive power seemed to be much smaller than everyone imagined. Minglong Tianfeng's face suddenly changed. Emon Yen's longbow had a huge traction force attached to it, and it even pulled him directly into Emon Yen. Minglong Tianfeng saw that he couldn't stop, suddenly Shin's shoulders slammed into Emon Yen's chest fiercely, fighting melee. He was not afraid of anyone except for losing to Long Chen. Click, however, the moment he slammed into Emon Yen, the coffin board under Emon Yen's feet suddenly bounced away, and Emon Yen was ejected, and Minglong Tianfeng slammed into the coffin with a cry of surprise. Boom! Minglong Tianfeng entered the coffin, and the coffin lid was closed in an instant. Emon Yen took out a handful of talismans with a smile, and sealed them on the coffin one by one, while chanting rhythmically, crossing 9 days, making big strides. Master Mo opened a coffin shop. The coffin shop, the coffins are good, one end is big and the other is small. Pretending to be dead can't live, pretending to be alive can't run away. Papa! Emon Yen muttered something like a mantra, and at the same time, a piece of talisman sealed the entire coffin. Bang bang bang. There were muffled noises from inside the coffin, which seemed to be mixed with Minglong Tianfeng's curses. It seemed that Minglong Tianfeng inside the coffin was struggling crazily to break out of the coffin. Cut! This is the treasure I obtained in the Tianmai Xian realm. If you can escape from it, I, Emon Yen, will take your surname. Emon Yen said arrogantly and authentically. Long Chen, can you kill that Fan Kuai? If you can't, give them both to me and I'll take them all. Emon Yen stood on the coffin and shouted at Long Chen, but his eyes looked towards Li Changging not far away. Emon Yen could tell at a glance that this Li Changging had a terrifying aura. He didn't know the origin of this Li Changging, but this guy was definitely a formidable enemy. As soon as Emon Yen came out, he plotted against Minglong Tianfeng so that he could concentrate on dealing with this terrifying guy. At this time, Fan Tianda's face was gloomy, and murderous intent was surging in his eyes. He didn't expect that another crazy Emon Yen would come out halfway. They instantly lost one combat power. Not far away, Long Zhe gritted his teeth and trembled all over. Facing Long Chen, who was fully fired, he didn't even have the courage to make a move. Under the oppression of Long Chen and Fan Tianda's aura, he knew that if he made a move by force, he would only bring shame on himself. Long Chen, what if you don't want Yu Zifeng's life? However, at this moment, a cold shout came from the void. At that moment, the hearts of Long Chen and the others raised their throats. The thing he was most worried about happened. Something happened to Zifeng. Chapter 57:17. Following the sound of drinking, a group of figures emerged, the leader of which was a middle-aged man with a square face, beard and a long sword on his back. As soon as he appeared, everyone including Long Chen felt a tremor in their souls. This is a terrifying sword cultivator. Not only is he a sword cultivator, but he also has the energy of chaos wrapped around him. This is a god emperor who was sealed in the era of chaos. He didn't show the divine crown, but his aura was countless times stronger than that of Ho Tianhui's father and the old woman of the Sea Whale clan that Long Chen had killed, and he was not at the same level at all. Behind the middle-aged man were countless young disciples carrying long swords. Their breaths were like sharp knives drawn out of their sheaths, chilling the soul. Ling Tian lineage. When Long Chen saw this group of people, Long Chen's heart sank rapidly, but his eyes became more and more fierce. When this group of people appeared, the fighting stopped instantly, and Tang Weiner led the crowd back to Feng Xinyu's side. Master, Tang Weiner was a little nervous and looked at Feng Xinyue. Wait and see what happens, Feng Xinyue comforted her. There are not many people in this group, only a few 100,000 people. Compared with other ethnic groups, the number is very small. But their arrival has brought enormous pressure to countless people, because they are a group of terrifying sword cultivators. Long Chen, do you recognize this guy? At this moment, the middle-aged man waved his hand, and 2 disciples came out carrying a man covered in blood. When they saw that figure, the heads of Long Chen and all the dragon blood warriors, they buzzed. One by one clenched the weapons in their hands, and the gushing killing intent distorted the space on a large scale. That person was none other than Yu Zifeng, but at this time, Yu Zifeng was nailed all over his body with nails, and there were strange runes circulating on each nail, and they were inflicting torture on Yu Zifeng. Crunch! Long Chen's fists were clenched and creaking, the veins on his forehead bulged, black spots flickered in his eyes, and his killing intent kept burning. Long Chen's body began to tremble because of anger. Long Chen, calm down, Yu Zifeng's life is in their hands, it is not appropriate to act violently. Seeing Long Chen's expression, Emo Nian hurriedly said. However, Emo Nian also panicked at this time. Although he was powerful, Yu Zifeng was threatened, and there was a god emperor from the Chaos era, so they didn't dare to take action easily. Seeing Long Chen's face full of killing intent, the middle-aged man seemed very satisfied, and said coldly, "This guy named Yu Zifeng killed hundreds of thousands of disciples of my Lingtian lineage in Tainmeixiuan territory, and was finally captured alive. Tell me, how should I deal with him?" "Draw the road," Long Chen said with a gloomy face. The middle-aged man didn't seem to understand the meaning of Long Chen's words. In his time, no one seemed to speak like that. A disciple whispered a few words to him, and then he looked at Long Chen and said, "Let's not talk nonsense, let him hand over the fragments of the divine sword, and the grievances will be wiped out." Hearing the fragments of the divine sword, Long Chen instantly understood that according to Long Chen's calculations, the fragments of the divine sword attracted countless sword repairers, which would inevitably cause bloody storms. However, based on Long Chen's understanding of Yu Zifeng, no one at the same level could defeat him. Even if he was attacked by a group of people, even if Yu Zifeng lost, he could retreat completely. But at this time he was captured alive. There must be something strange. Long Chen looked at the middle-aged man. His eyes were as sharp as a knife, and he didn't say a word. "You can rest assured, as the seventh son of Ling Tian, I, Zui Yen, will definitely keep my word." Seeing Long Chen's eyes flicker, the middle-aged man said proudly, "The 7 sons of Ling Tian are the most powerful 7 disciples under Ling Tian Sword God sect, and this Zui Yen is the 7th disciple of Ling Tian Sword God. In the era of chaos, the 7th son of Ling Tian once gained a great reputation, and almost everyone in the practice world knew about it. You don't have to think about tricks. In front of me, you can only be regarded as a stronger ant. I advise you to give up your illusions obediently and don't make unnecessary resistance." Seeing that Long Chen's eyes were still sharp, Zui Yen sneered. "Don't say some useless nonsense. If you didn't do it yourself, Yu Ling Tian's lineage would definitely be killed by my brother alone. If you dare to say that it was not you who made the move, I, Long Chen, will immediately cut off my head and give it to you." Long Chen said coldly. Zui Yen was furious immediately, but he couldn't refute Long Chen, because just as Long Chen expected, it was he who shot through the air that severely injured Yu Zifeng. At that time, Yu Zifeng had just fused the sword god fragments, which consumed a lot of soul power and was unable to maintain his peak state. The sword god fragment has been fused by Yu Zifeng, Zui Yen and others are in a hurry. Yu Zifeng and the sword god fragment have been integrated into one, and Yu Zifeng must take the initiative to separate it. If they were forcibly extracted, the sword god fragments would shatter together with Yu Zifeng's soul, and they would be nothing but nothing. Later they learned that Yu Zifeng was the commander of the 4th Army of the Dragon Blood Legion. They immediately searched for the Dragon Blood Legion, and when they learned that the Dragon Blood Legion was in a bloody battle, they immediately killed them. Seeing that Long Chen and the others cared so much about Yu Zifeng, he immediately felt more at ease. As long as they cared about each other, he would have a chance to get the sword god fragment. However, Long Chen's rhetorical question made him very annoyed, and he said with a gloomy face, "Let's talk nonsense. If you lose, you lose. You can only blame him for not being good at learning. Tell me, do you want him to die or live?" Call, with a big wave of Zui Yan's hand, Yu Zifeng, who was already unconscious, flew in front of him. He pinched Yu Zifeng's neck with his hands, and looked at Long Chen with a threat beyond words. Crunch. Zui Yan's action was full of humiliation, and Long Chen's body slowly lowered down. "Long Chen!" Emo Nian exclaimed, "Don't mess around at this time, this guy's strength is unfathomable. If he makes a rash move, Yu Zifeng will die. Whoever insults my brother will die." Long Chen roared, and the thunder wings appeared behind him, and the person was like a streamer, slashing at Zui Yen with a knife. "Long Chen!" Bai Shirsher and Tang Weiner exclaimed at the same time. Boss! Gu Yang and the others yelled. They couldn't imagine how Long Chen, who had always been calm and calm, would suddenly be so reckless. Yu Zifeng was still in the hands of the other party. Wouldn't his doing so speed up Yu Zifeng's death? Feng Xinhue was also taken aback when she saw this scene, but when he saw Mo Nian's hanging hands secretly making a seal, a flash of enlightenment suddenly flashed in his eyes. Boom! Long Chen's figure was like lightning, and the keel bone was chopped down by Xiyue. The indomitable momentum shocked countless people. However, when he saw Long Chen rushing towards him, Zui Yan had a look of surprise on his face. Seeing Long Chen slash down with a knife, he reached out with one hand and went straight to Long Chen's dragon bone, Xiu, to grab it. Just when people were horrified by Zui Yan's divine weapon that dared to shake Long Chen with his bare hands, a purple divine crown emerged from the back of Zui Yan's head. When the purple crown of God emerged, the world was silent and all roads were still. Long Chen was shocked to find that he was imprisoned for a moment, and the knife that was going forward suddenly became powerless. Snapped, the dragon bone Xiu slashed at Zui Yan's hand, but it couldn't hurt him at all. At that moment, the hearts of the dragon blood warriors sank to the bottom of the valley instantly. Chapter 57:18. Haha, what an idiot, now it's over, even the blood crystal of the Imperial Way is mine. Grabbing the dragon bone Xiyue, Zui Yan looked up to the sky and laughed. The laughter was full of joy. And the powerhouses present were all horrified. Everyone had seen the terrifying coercion of Ho Tianhui's father's green god crown before. And Ho Tianhui's father's divine way crown is the fourth level among the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple in the rainbow level, and this Zui Yan is actually the seventh level, which is also the highest level of purple crown. As soon as the crown came out, not to mention Long Chen in front of Zui Yan, even the powerhouses who were far away from the battlefield felt their bodies were imprisoned, their souls were frozen, and they lost their ability to move in an instant. In front of the Purple Crown Emperor, all living beings are ants. A strong man said in horror. The moment Zui Yan's divine crown appeared, they felt that their souls were locked. It only took one thought from Zui Yan to make the souls of all living beings fly away. That feeling was too terrifying. Eye of Purgatory, however, just when Zui Yan thought he had controlled Long Chen and laughed wildly, a hexagram pattern appeared in Long Chen's pupils. The hexagram was reflected on Zui Yan's forearm holding Yu Zifeng. At that moment, Zui Yan suddenly felt bad. Puff, however, before he could make a move, the hexagram pattern suddenly distorted the space, and the huge force directly broke his forearm. The moment his arm was broken, Zui Yan loosened his terrifying domain power, and Long Chen immediately escaped his control, stepped back a few steps, and then a coffin flew over. Snapped, the coffin was opened, and a figure popped out inside. It was Minglong Tianfeng, who was trapped almost insanely, and the ejected Minglong Tianfeng directly hit Zui Yan. Snapped, after releasing Minglong Tianfeng, the coffin swallowed Yu Zifeng in the air in one mouthful, and the coffin lid closed instantly. Minglong Tianfeng was already insane at this time, and after getting out of trouble, he saw a figure, no matter who it was, and instinctively swung his spear and smashed it hard. Puff! But at this moment, Zui Yan's long sword slashed down in his hand, and the space was torn apart. The underworld dragon peak was chopped into powder by Zui Yan's sword, and even the magic spear was directly chopped off. Just when Zui Yan killed Minglong Tianfeng with a sword, the ancient rattan pattern appeared in Long Chen's left hand. At the same time, black lightning instantly wrapped Long Chen's palm and slapped Zui Yan's back heart. Puff Zui Yan's body-protecting divine light was pierced by a palm, and a big palm print was printed on his back, and at the same time Zui Yan spat out a mouthful of blood. Seeing this scene, Long Chen couldn't help being horrified. He used the power of the ancient vine and drained all of Lei Linger's strength, but he barely penetrated his protective divine light. The Purple Crown Emperor is not what he is now. He can handle it. Just when Zui Yan was injured, Mo Nian made a big move, and the coffin flew towards the dragon blood army like a bolt of lightning. Boundless judgment. The waving moon shocks the sky. The cooperation between Emon and Long Chen can be said to be flawless, and even the expression of acting is impeccable. They cut off their wrists and saved people in one go. But at this time, they are already riding a tiger. At the same time, they broke out the strongest attack, preemptive. Go to hell. Zui Yan was killed by surprise, his left hand disappeared, and he could only slash with a sword in his right hand. However, he is a left-handed man and he is not used to it. However, Long Chen's palm contained terrifying destructive power, which penetrated into his internal organs. Even if he is the Emperor of the Purple Crown, he still feels extremely uncomfortable and is completely powerless. Go to hell. Seeing the two men coming to kill, Zui Yan let out an angry roar, swiped his long sword, and the sharp sword energy cut through the void. Boom! Long Chen and Emon Yen spurted out a mouthful of blood and flew backwards at the same time. Little bastard, I want to tear you into pieces. Zui Yan roared angrily. He is one of the 7 sons of Ling Tian, and he was also a famous existence in the era of chaos, but now he has been deprived of the bargaining chip in his hand and his arm was broken. What kind of humiliation is this? Zui Yan slashed out with a sword again, and saw a purple arc of light crossing the sky, shattering all ways. In this blow, he used the power of the Purple Crown. Forgot all. However, the moment the purple light arc flew out, a jade hand in the void covered the sky, and just when it was about to hit Long Chen and Emon Yen, it slapped at Jian Qi. Boom! With a bang, the blow containing Zui Yan's berserk power was unexpectedly smashed into pieces by the jade hand, and the purple divine brilliance fell colorfully, scattered all over the world, and countless people were stunned. Zui Yan was so shocked that his blood surged, he couldn't help being shocked and angry. He didn't expect that there was a peerless master hidden here. Just as he was looking for the person who made the move, Feng Sinyu's voice came. The dignified Ling Tian 7th son actually threatened a little heavenly sage, and ended up like this. It's really ridiculous. Who are you? Zui Yan was startled and angry. He looked at Feng Xinyu. At the beginning, Feng Sinyu's aura was just that of an ordinary god emperor, without a trace of chaos. Zui Yan regarded her as a contemporary god emperor. I didn't pay attention to it at all. And just now when Feng Xinyu made a strike, the power of chaos in that palm was not condensed, gathered but not dispersed, and his control over the power of chaos was much higher than him. If it was normal, he would have shot immediately without saying a word, but at this time his arm was broken and he was hit by Long Chen. He needed to use part of his strength to suppress the black lightning in his body, and his strength was greatly reduced. Time doesn't know whether to make a move. It doesn't matter who I am, the important thing is that you are no longer qualified to challenge me. Feng Xinyu said lightly. Then let me kill that kid first. Zui Yan's face was distorted, his big hands were spread out, and endless runes were burning. However, to his horror, there was no movement in the coffin behind Emon Yen. Heavenly Tao cut off? Zui Yan's face instantly became extremely ugly. Idiot, this is the treasure of my Emon Yen. Pretending to be alive won't kill you. Your little tricks are not enough. Emon Yen said disdainfully. You despicable things, you have completely disgraced sword cultivators. What Ling Tian sword god is just a bunch of despicable and shameless animals from top to bottom. Long Chen looked at Zui Yan with a gloomy expression. Facing Long Chen's scolding, Zui Yan was so angry that his eyes almost burst into flames. He pointed at Long Chen and cursed, "Little bastard, today is your fate. Just wait, you will not end well if you fight against our Ling Tian lineage." Still waiting? I can't wait. Long Chen roared. Suddenly Long Chen closed one eye, and when the other eye opened, a hexagram pattern appeared. And at the moment when Long Chen's hexagram pattern appeared, a figure quietly appeared behind Zui Yan. Countless people exclaimed. Zui Yan suddenly felt something was wrong, and was about to make a move. Puff! 6 arms like spider legs pierced Zui Yan's left and right ribs at the same time, and the evil figure of the 6-horned evil fly appeared in front of everyone. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.